who I am and who's talking to you. Hello, beautiful people. I'm going to keep. Hello, once again. My name is Tap the Soul. You can call me lurking in Felix's stream for almost a year, if not longer. And I've been looking forward to this day. So without further ado, I'm gentleman right here. So let me bring him in. Oh, that
Hello.
probably didn't sound right, did it? Ooh. Oops. Well, that happened. Yeah. Felix.
Hi.
I don't have any fancy sound effects like what you have, but
Oh,
I could do the, the Arsenio Hall whoop 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 or something. Wait, are these folks old enough to know about Arsenio Hall though? Like, I'm gonna go.
maybe a few.
Oh, okay. Just so those of you who already know who he is, what do we call you? You are a content creator.
Yep.
You are a gamer.
Yes, absolutely.
You do voice work.
I hope to.
Yeah, you
Professionally, at
hope
least.
to
Yeah.
professionally. We should talk
Mhm.
about that because I wanted to. Every once in a while, I hear that I have a voice that might be able to make me some money. So
Yeah.
why
Right.
not?
I,
Why
I
not try?
honestly, I believe that because
Yeah.
funny enough, I've told Lav the same thing. So the same is absolutely true for you as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm taking these compliments while they're happening in real time. And then on your media kit, you call yourself a caster. What does that
Yes.
mean? In the world of people like me who do not know this, what does that mean?
So I guess it's another blanket term you can kind of use for a streamer. But it also would go towards anybody who would usually be I guess kind of like hosting like events and stuff like that. So there have been a couple of occasions where I've actually been I guess like an MC for tournaments or other events.
Okay.
Heck, the most recent thing I did was probably the Andromeda Arcade Spelling Bee. I would
Yeah,
consider
we
myself
gonna
like a
talk about
caster in
that.
that.
That
Oh,
that was
really? Oh,
dope.
I'm excited.
That was yeah. That was
Woo!
yeah.
I'm
I'm
excited to talk
glad I
about
don't
that one.
remember some of the names who did not spell well.
Oh,
They tried. They get a
they,
participation badge.
there was an effort.
Yeah. And those who forfeited their win because they wanted to be greedy and go a little bit further. But yeah. I remember all of
There was
that.
that too.
Yeah, I paid attention. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well, we got names.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm Tap the Soul. He's Felix Win, and I am going to sit down and do some conversation. He thinks I'm going to grill him with a bunch of questions. Kind of not really. Not really.
I'm ready.
Now, you're not special because everybody who sits in this chair, oh, yeah, I just went there. I don't know. Everybody who sits in this chair that meets up with me, they get a question. And it's been mainly DJs, but you're not a DJ. So when I say you're not special, I'm not going to omit this question. So right out the gates, tell me, how did we come up with Felix Wind?
Oh, I actually love this story. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
this is good. Good.
Yeah. So this was in my early time on the internet. And I happened to hop onto a game called Growl Online. It's like GRAAL Online. Um, Originally back in the day, it was called like Zelda Online, and if you're familiar at all with the Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, it was a game with an art style very much like that, and you could like customize your character in all sorts of different ways, right? A whole avatar. So I happened to one day just up and make like a tiny little. It was actually a fox, funny enough, a little fox character with like a big bushy tail, but it was all black. It had blue eyes. Um, and within the game there was like a system, I guess, where like another player could come by and like adopt you or something like that. And so I was running around with whatever name I had at the time. It's been so long I can't even remember what I used to go by. um and they saw my avatar and they were like, he's a black cat, it reminds me of Felix the cat from the old cartoon. And so that's where Felix comes from. And I don't remember when I did this, but one day I up and decided I needed a surname, and so I picked something that was, that was on my mind at the time. I think, funny enough, for my Avatar fans, Avatar was like the show or the cartoon to be watching at the time. And I was like, well, I love wind as an element. Like, that's my favorite element. And Sonic the Hedgehog is also like a big like love of mine as well. And like his whole thing is being one with the wind and moving fast and all that. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm just gonna tag wind on at the end of it. And for the last 16 plus years, I want to say, that's been me.
16 plus years.
Yeah, like I
That
got the
is
name when I was like 14.
crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna try not to do the math right now on your age. So we're just not gonna go there. I try not
By
to
all
ask
means.
people their age because I just feel there's no need. You're
Absolutely.
wise beyond your years, regardless. So yes, that's what we're
Yeah.
gonna. So it's a learning for me because I actually thought Felix was your real name. It was Cosmic
Yeah.
Lab who was just like, oh yeah, no, nah, that's not his name. I was just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You've been doing this way before the lockdown. Yes?
Yes, absolutely,
Yes.
yes.
And you do this mainly only on Twitch
Yes, at the moment.
at the moment?
Recently, as of this year, actually been trying to sort of branch out a little bit and put content on other platforms. So I'm semi-active on TikTok and Instagram, and then also YouTube.
Interesting,
Mhm.
interesting, interesting. So the content that you put through, like, are you live gaming?
It's so far been clips taken from the live streams for the
Okay,
short form content at least.
okay.
Otherwise though, on occasion I try to put out something unique in longer format, like usually anywhere from 5 to maybe 20-minute videos on YouTube.
And how's the
Yeah.
traction been?
So far so good. On all fronts actually, better than I expected. It's been
Really?
very interesting and I'm thankful. Yeah, honestly, like the first ever TikTok I posted after like years of having my account. I mean, going in, I had already somehow garnered like 100 followers. Thank you everybody. And the first TikTok I put out there, like I think is over 3K, almost 4K plays. It's
Whew.
been a minute since I've actually looked, but I was like, where did that come from? Like I was going in maybe expecting like, something in the double digits or
Yeah, yeah.
maybe triple, like if somebody was really watching it over that many times. But when I saw it like overnight, like or in a single night kind of just spike, I was like, whoa, 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 wait a second, wait a second. And then
That
from
is
there, it's been
crazy.
variable, but
Yeah.
yeah, we were definitely seeing a lot more than I was anticipating going in.
Would you consider doing a live stream on TikTok or on
I
YouTube?
would. I would
Yeah?
actually both. Yeah. I actually, funny enough, I did start some setup for streaming on YouTube and whatnot, but it's like intimidating, when you're
It
being
is.
introduced to something new
Yeah,
and you're just like,
yeah.
oh, whoa, whoa, like I don't what is all this? Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about YouTube right now. So one day, like I'll definitely pull up on it and give it a fair shot. Because I do want to try and get to YouTube partner this year, and I know part of that is the watch hours. So even if it's not even active over there, if somebody's even like tabbed up, then at least that part of it will go up and I'll worry about the subscribers later. Um,
Interesting.
like I really want to just really study TikTok and like see how it works. Because I would entertain the idea of doing like an independent stream over there, but then I'm like, what do I do over there? Because just gaming like I have been doing on Twitch
Yeah,
may not necessarily like translate well over there, right? So
yeah, yeah.
that one's something I gotta sit on for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TikTok for me is new. Like, I set up my
Yeah.
account finally because people said that's what you're supposed to do. And I was just like, "Yeah, okay, sure." I
Yeah.
posted my very first post over there. It was a copy of Instagram. That blew up. I got, like, 1,700 views. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I made it." Then I
Yeah.
posted a second clip that got, like, 200 views. I'm like, "Okay, no, I
Right.
didn't make it. Never
Right.
mind. Take that right
Right.
back." The third one did better, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get when I log in there, I'm seeing things that I don't really care to see. The
Yeah.
people I'm following, they don't pop up on my thing right away.
Right.
But people have just blown up on
Mhm.
TikTok, and I'm just like, I need to go to TikTok school and then
Yeah.
figure out, like, what's the content? Like, what do you put on there that's the sweet spot? Because people
Right.
say that it's not community. Like, it's not
Right.
the
Right.
same type of community like a Twitch or a YouTube, right? So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's enroll together because
Yeah, I'm in. I'm in. I
all
got the
right.
glasses. I got the notebook and the notes, and
Yeah.
we have lab that will keep us on point. So yeah, there's always
Hey,
that.
she
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, she will, she will. So those who's strolling in, I'm in conversation with Felix Wynn. He is a well-known presence here on Twitch. Maybe not in our community, but within his own. And I'm absolutely stoked, and I said stoked like I'm some young hip person right now, that he is in the chair jamming and vibing with us for about an hour. We'll see how we go with the conversation. Now,
Yep.
you were just streaming Mario Kart, right? How many
Yeah.
hours did you just do?
2.5.
So that's a
Yeah.
light night for you.
Yep. It is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Typically I'll stream for about 4 hours. It's usually kind of like a sweet spot, I feel. In all ways, I feel like 4 hours is kind of great for me to sort of get enough out of a stream if I intended on using any part of it for any peripheral content, right? So the TikTok, the
yeah,
Instagram, YouTube.
yeah,
And then also like in general too, like it approaches about 8 o'clock for us around that time, usually. And so I'll like notice at that point, everybody's kind of winding down from their day because I'll usually catch them maybe towards the end of their workday. So
yeah,
after that, it's sort of like, they're wrapping up their workday, they're on their way home. They'll maybe have me on while they, do dinner and otherwise get ready for bed. And then I kind of catch sort of like the night owls of the UK and the general like Europe area as well.
yeah,
So I feel like in general, like the 4 to 8 p.m. is a bit of a sweet spot for us over there. Um, and lately, because of the partner push, I've been trying to extend that a little bit more, mostly to secure metrics on that, because numbers, love numbers. Um,
yeah, yeah. It's a little discouraging though, isn't it? Like, Lab. And let me do a little bit of backstory because I'm going to keep dropping her name in here and people will like say what, who, where.
Yeah.
So Cosmic Lab, those of you know her formerly as Simply Patty, my daughter, has been on Twitch for since lockdown. We'll go there. She's come and gone along the way, but she has a diehard community that they all have love and support amongst each other. And she's in Mr. Felix Wynn's chat quite a bit. I believe she's also your mod, and I don't know whatever other crazy things that y'all do in your voice chats and whatever else that happens that I'm not supposed to I feel I'm not supposed to be there and hear any of this, but we'll go with that. So along the way, I've been, I am. Hi, musical Taddy. So along the way, I kept on saying, I love his vibe. And those of you who are here supporting him, you absolutely know exactly why I'm saying I love his vibe. But along the way of him talking about the game and the community, and he's talking with everybody, he's always talking about a self-care aspect. You're always reminding people who raid over to go and take that break and do what you got to do and worry about yourself and take care of yourself. And I thought that was really impressive. So I come from the world of the DJ community. I came to Twitch because of music and DJs. So for me, it's a very different environment. And it was really refreshing to hear how you interact with your community. And then there's others, GTZ's got the sound bite that I want. I want that sound bite. Like I was like, I need that. So when people are rolling in here, I got that drop that's going on, you know what I mean? But like, there's a whole vibe that you guys have. And I think that that's something that a lot of people can learn. Those who are interested in streaming or those who have already been streaming and trying to figure out their way. Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me, TZ. Don't do that. Fox, welcome in. Another name that I see and know in these streets. So I really wanted to sit down and have this dialogue with you and learn some things along the way. Like you talked about going for your partnership. I was surprised that you didn't already have your partnership. What made you delay in doing it?
So I've seen, right, in my many years of streaming. So, for some background on me, I've been actively streaming since 2015. I want to say it was October of 2015 is when I started streaming.
Okay.
I've had my account since 2012, but like I wasn't really active with it until around that year. And so I've seen many people like come and go on the platform, many different waves of like the decisions that they've made. Like even the partner program as we know it now was so different, even 6 years ago. And so with that and seeing how trying to maintain certain numbers or whatever else has like really torn people down, or they'll get there and then fall off, right? Because one example I use, I knew somebody who used to stream Mario Kart like I did today. And that was all they played, right? That is what everybody knew them for, and that is how they garnered the community and eventually made partnership. And then down the line, Splatoon came out. So this is like Wii U days, whenever the Wii U came out, everybody, for those of you wondering around the time. And they picked up Splatoon or any other game that they were interested in at the time. And you would watch that number go, like, so say they were at like 130 concurrent viewers, I would watch that number drop down to 20, 30, maybe on a good day, right? Because they were playing something different and people didn't want that from them. And so I looked at that and I was like, no, I don't want that for me. I don't want people to know me for just one game, right? Because especially as somebody with so many interests, I've got love for so many different franchises across several different platforms, and everything. So I was like, well, we're just gonna have to do the very painful and slow grind because I want everything to be as authentic as possible. Like if it's meant for me to like, I guess reach partnership or whatever other goals I happen to have, like it's got to be in a way that's true to me, right? And I gotta have the support, like genuine support from like my friends, community, my family, without, I guess, selling out would be the blanket term for that, right? Like so I was like, that can't be me. I'm just gonna,
gonna pin this.
I'm just gonna do it like this.
Go ahead and blush. Felix is so well spoken. Do you guys understand why I wanted this gentleman to be, I was going to say young man, but then I'm going to feel like archaic. So let me just slow that down right there. You understand now why I wanted this gentleman to be on this channel and have a conversation with me. Because like this, you are definitely above and beyond. And I've been in other people's streams and you hear them, people my age, older and younger, and you're just like, go back to school. Like just, you can be hip and down, but just have some level of intelligence along the way, and you like that just that shines through all the time, right? So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Somebody has to teach me how to do this whole stream deck thing, because I
Oh.
bought it and I've had it for months and it's white and it's pretty and I've figured out how to press some buttons, but all the other things you guys do with it, I don't even know. Yeah.
Oh.
I have
I
no
got you.
clue. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got you.
And let
Alright.
me out her, by the way, Cosmic Lab also has a stream deck that's sitting as an accessory on her desk.
Yeah, I'm
Boom,
not
boom,
surprised about
boom.
that one.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, just want to put that out there. And I know I'm
mm.
going to get in trouble. The door might be locked when I go over there later. But yeah. Now you talk about the numbers game, and I really wanted to touch
Mm.
on that and just making those decisions, right? Because I find that it's hard. Um, the white one was yours, yes, and I took it because aesthetically it looks better with my setup. And I gave you the black one, and that's all there is to it. But you got one. You have a key light over there, and I don't, and I seem to be streaming more than you. Like, do we really want to
Ooh.
do this in stream with Felix here? Like, this just gets bad, like really, really, really quickly, like really, really, really quickly. Because see, Felix, when you're not there,
Yeah.
I'm here. So we can
Mhm.
alternate the role when
I'm
we
down.
want to deal with Cosmic Love. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And you
down for
see
that.
my people now telling me to behave and yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'll be here for
So,
this. I'll be here for
oh, she
this.
came over. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Hold on. If the stream suddenly ends, people, it was nice talking while I could. Bye. Yes. Hi. Did you want to come in the camera and say hello to the people? You
Yo,
should.
pull
Like,
up, bestie.
yeah, pull up. See, there we go. She's doing the whole roll eye things. Ladies and gentlemen, you will officially see Miss Cosmic Love, Simply Patty. Is she gonna pop in? There she is. There
Hi,
you
bestie.
are, beautiful people. Yes, the algorithm and the
Yeah.
content, and you have a lot of people saying hi to you, and she's still giving me the stare down. People, I feel like my life is at risk.
No, it's
I'm
not.
just saying. See, yeah, pop in a little bit more. um, how did you get over that fear, right? Like, so
Mm.
you started with, I mean, you talked about the person with the Mario Kart, right? Like, I
Yeah.
know Lav used to play Animal Crossing, and during
Mhm.
lockdown, that was the demand. Everybody was
Yes.
playing Animal Crossing,
Yes.
so it was so easy to get followers.
Yeah.
I find with myself here, I started almost a year now, call it a year, and my content has changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
And the people are kind of like, yeah, we're not really into that. So deuces, we're gonna be out. Like, how do you
Mhm.
keep that drive going to turn on your channel and choose the game that you're gonna play and kind of go through the motions and push forward?
Yeah. So that actually kind of springboards off of, I guess everything I was seeing with that example individual, right? And
Yeah.
and what you were saying too. So I really sat down one day because I think maybe I had like one really good Mario Kart stream one day, right around that time ish. So we're thinking maybe 2016, I want to say at some point. I like had a really good Mario Kart stream. It was like over 80 viewers and everything. And I was like, whoa, like maybe if I just stream Mario Kart, maybe this, and then of course I remember the example person, and I even tried it right at that time. I tried to really just push myself, and over time and very quickly, I found myself starting to get burned out, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, I don't want to really play Mario Kart tomorrow, but like, a bunch of the people that are around right now, at least they really want to see Mario Kart. So what do I do if I'm unhappy? And so that ended up turning into a thing I started telling everybody, right? Like, if you're coming on here to do this, or if you're recording anything for yourself to broadcast out there in the world or any of that, you have to make sure that you are doing it for yourself first and you're having fun with it. If you stop having fun, that you lose,
You
you with
lose. Yeah.
everything, you just
Yeah.
lose. Like there's
Yeah.
no negotiation about it. If you're not having fun with it, that's it. And
Yeah.
so when I had that come into mind for me, I was like, okay, well, what can I do to make this fun again? Because I do like streaming and I do like the interaction that I was getting at the time and everything like that, right? There were a couple regulars I had and whatever else too. And so I was like, well, they can see at this point that I'm getting burnt out, that I'm getting tired. I'm not interacting the same like I was
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
and any of that, right? There were times where some of the friends or members of the community would come over and check on me after a stream and be like, "Hey, like, are you good? Like, you seemed a little bit out of it." They were worried maybe something was going on at home or something like that, and really, it was just I wasn't having fun playing the game I was playing or games I was playing
Yeah.
anymore. Um, and so with that all in mind, I was like, okay, I have to make sure and check myself all the time, no matter what it is I'm doing, that I have fun with it first. And the second that is compromised, I have to switch. And so it took a bit of practice, right? Because to do something that is alien to you, right? Like if you're there playing Mario Kart, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing for hours on end, and that is what you're known for, and you get tired of that, like yeah, you have to switch. You got to switch something up. Even you could even maintain the same game, but you got to do something to spice it up that would make it more enjoyable for you if you're really going to try and keep to the same category, right? And that can also translate to music as well. Like shout outs to the DJs out there actually who are mixing various kinds of music.
It's
Um,
risky though. Like Twitch
yeah,
is
it
so like
absolutely
Twitch
is.
people are so fickle.
It
Like it's like
absolutely is.
let's just call it for what it is. You're building your community. You know, those who showed up during COVID, and I know you were pre-COVID, so it's a very
Hmm.
different world for you. But a lot of the
Yeah,
folks like myself showed up during COVID where you had nothing to do
yeah,
but dance in your living room, learn how to DJ and stream, or
yeah.
you became a gamer, right? Like I
Right.
bought my Nintendo Switch
Yep.
because of COVID, Animal Crossing because of COVID. I was not
Yeah.
an Animal Crossing girl before. I became one, right? And
Yeah.
I've never streamed it here. I've made the joke about it a couple of times. I don't know, maybe one day I'll stream it here just to like, because these folks were like, Animal Crossing, like, really? And I'm thinking, don't judge
Yeah.
me.
I
Like,
would tune in for that. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
You're probably one of the few people I would actually watch these days play Animal Crossing, and that's no exaggeration. I
yeah.
really would. Yeah.
You guys are trying to get me to play, what is it? Fortnite, Overwatch, something. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, as long as you guys, and I said it to you yesterday, as long as you guys can get me to slide down the hill and do that, and the little
That's what'll
dance
make
thing
it
you're
fun for
doing. And
you.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
got you. We got
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I'll add you tonight.
Oh, no, 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 no. That's
What
okay. You don't have to do no
what do you
rush.
mean?
Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Take your
Wow.
time. So let's talk games, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
we can hit the shout together. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, Jay.
No, no, Jay.
What do
No,
you mean?
no.
You
I
make
need
me
a
wanna
whole
shout. Yeah.
no.
You don't
Mm,
wanna
no. I've seen
we'll
some of
get
the
her.
dance moves and stuff like that, and I'm just like, I like the games today are very different from the games of yesteryear, right? Like you talked
Mhm.
about Sonic, and I remember playing Sonic, and I'm scared to
Yeah.
talk about it now because um Tap, yeah, now Tap, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cosmic Lab has her own version of what happened when we bought the Sonic Hedgehog game,
Uh-huh.
Sega, whatever it was. It
Yeah.
lasted barely 24 hours in our house. I have my
Oh.
version of events. She has her version, and her dad has a version, and we're just gonna leave it as that. But I used to play a
Oh.
lot of like PlayStation and Mario 3, and no,
Yeah.
see, like she's shouting at me, like ladies and gentlemen, like how like the mod is shouting at me, like how does that work, right? Like again,
No
like
way.
really? The games like I've heard you play. I think you've played Zelda, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
right? But
Yep.
what are some of your top games that have really pulled you in? Um, because
Oh.
like that you play on Twitch, and then do you play outside of Twitch, like on the couch on your PlayStation or Xbox or anything?
These days, as far as off stream goes, not
Yeah.
really, because off stream has become so, I guess, like packed. And I'll get into that in a second. But on stream, ooh, the Legend of Heroes series, which I'm sure you've caught me a
Yeah.
couple times
Yeah.
playing,
Yeah.
that had really like hooked me for a while. Now other things are coming out and it's taking my time away from it. But yeah, there's that. There's Zelda, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Happy we worked through that. I'm big on Kingdom Hearts. Hollow Knight has been a game that has absolutely like just kind of like really like grabbed me and like rocked my soul. Like I'm I've become a big fan of games that sort of just drop you into a world and they have you kind of seek out the answers, right? Like they'll give you a little bit of a push, but it is up to you to sort of come up with your own interpretation with the tools that you're given. Metroidvanias, as they're often called, and
Okay.
I've been appreciative of titles like that since playing Hollow Knight.
I'm
Yeah,
learning.
let us
Like
know.
I've learned so much about the gaming community because of Twitch. I didn't even know Twitch
Yeah,
existed. I was just
yeah,
like, what is it? Like it's not just here for DJs. And I was like, no, apparently it's here for gamers. And it's been around way before. And we're kind of looked down upon because we just showed up in the heat of the lockdown and we're trying to take over people's channels and people and whatever, because we're doing our own thing, only to realize
yeah,
that the gaming community has like there's some folks who have thousands of people watching them play a game. Like
yeah.
just it's
It cannot be understated, by the way. Like, as somebody who was here pre-pandemic and everything,
yeah,
seeing the wave of people that came in during the pandemic and then they stayed, like they found something for themselves here, right? No matter how big or small, however it ended up for them, right? Like,
yeah,
I give like a lot of like respect out to people who like really stuck around because there are so many more who dropped off afterwards, right? Like
yeah.
doors opened up and I was like, all right, cool, like back to work or back to being outside, which hey, good for you. You know what I'm saying? Touch grass, please. But no, for those that like stayed behind and they were like, okay, you know what? Like, yeah, there's something for me here. I love that. I love that you found something for yourselves. Because like who knows what would have happened if there was no pandemic? Like, would you have found it? Like, would you know?
I wouldn't be doing
it's
what I'm
interesting.
doing if it wasn't for it,
Yeah, we
right?
wouldn't be
Like,
talking right
yeah,
now.
no, we
Yeah,
wouldn't be. We wouldn't be because
yeah,
I mean,
and
we
that's
do live
cool.
in the same city more or less, but I
Yep.
wouldn't be walking in Eaton Center and be like, "Oh yeah, there's Felix Wind." Like
Right, right.
I'd be like, "Oh, there's that guy."
Right.
There's somebody earlier that said we look alike. I'm just
Yeah,
like, "Yeah,
right.
that
Yeah,
guy.
I
Oh
saw
yeah,
that.
that guy's got the fro going as well." I'll be like, "Yo, all right, yo, what up, fam?" And just like, we do the cordial nod, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah. You
yeah.
just kind of
Oh
keep
yeah.
it, yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep it going. And I will say for Twitch, for me, because I'm in a whole different space, right? It
Mhm.
is interesting to see how creative people have become. There's
Yeah.
some of the questionable activities that I've seen, and I'm just like, I don't understand why we're here with hot tubs and whatever else along the way.
Right.
That's as far as I want to go with that because it's just gross.
Yeah.
But people seem to really be in demand of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
really kind of hurts, and I'm gonna say it hurts overall for me. Yes, he is in the
Agree.
Toronto area. We'll say
Yeah,
the
we're
Toronto
neighbors.
surrounding area. Yeah, yeah. Those of you in the 416, you may see him walking down the street. That's him, Felix
Yeah.
Wind. Yes,
Hello,
yes.
hello. Stop me if you see
Um,
me.
exactly. He is a nice guy. We actually haven't physically met yet, but I feel
Mm-mm.
like we've been friends forever, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hey.
The creativity that people have, I try not to knock it, right? Like for
Mhm.
me, I'm doing what I'm doing. You're doing the gaming. A lot of the friends that I have here are, they're gamers, DJs, and whatever. But we've all have a creative streak that makes us turn on,
Yeah.
and that's why I asked you earlier about what gives you that push to continue through. Although you made that
Mhm.
switch of game to game, you've made this decision. So I want to ask you, did you know that this is what you wanted to do? At what point did
No.
you know this is where you were heading? And where were you before you decided to head this way, since you just said no?
Ooh. So I want to say it really hit me that I wanted to be here kind of recently. Because I've tried off and on again to really like tackle it, I guess, and like figure it out and all that stuff over my entire tenure. Um But of course, like, there's the societal norms and pressure of like, oh, you got to go to school and get a good job and know what you're doing. And I grew
Yeah.
up my entire life. And to this day, really, like, well, I say to this day, kind of like with parentheses now or quotes now. Um, like, I didn't know what that thing was, right? I knew I had, a few skills in one thing and a few talents in another, and I could maybe be insightful about things I've otherwise never touched. Um, but I didn't know where it was that I was going to excel at. Um, and one thing that always kind of stuck out growing up at any point was how like observant I am.
Mhm.
Um, and my attention to detail about this and that and whatever else. And I was like, okay, yeah, interesting, but like, what can I do with that? And then, time moved forward and I came across, streaming and everything. And as I streamed, I, without realizing it, because it wasn't until somebody said something to me that I realized I had been doing this, but people would come by and I would recall things about them, right? They maybe would mention something in chat, or if they were a fellow streamer, I'd notice something in their streams. And so whenever they visited
Yeah.
mine, I would say, oh, yo, hey, how's like that thing going? Or how, like, I heard that this XYZ game, or you asked me about this, and so on and so forth. And so I'd do regular check-ins and really like get to know the people that were coming by me, especially, of course, like regularly. Um, and so I guess that observation skill turned into this. And then throughout little like part-time jobs I had picked up, particularly my job at GameStop, that's when my communication actually went up as well. Because I thought I was a pretty okay talker at first, but I really started like I really got into GameStop because I mean, hey, video games, haha, tee that's been a constant, right? So I really picked up like in a community of gamers at that point, right? Like just sort of how to talk and get comfortable, right? And then when I go to Twitch and I'm like, okay, everybody here knows games at least, so I can be that level of comfortable with
Yeah.
everybody as well. And so with that in practice, that's just then turned into what it is now. Um, but then recently it was really like and the very loud like outcry from the various members of the community and the friends I've made over the years and the family that has like come in and seen what I'm doing here and looking at what I'm doing, and they go, wow, like you're really good at this. It wasn't
Mhm.
until then that I was like, okay, maybe this is the thing, like. And from there now to this day, like I'm still sort of trying to figure out some of the more like intricate things about it, more of the back end things of it, so I can turn it into the sort of profit that like a lot of people are anticipating or know I
Yeah.
should be at right now. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of belief in me, and before even myself to a degree, I don't want to let everybody else down. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm locking in on this. Like I believe this. I do really believe in this too, especially after being told repeatedly by everybody else, right? I mean, even you now talking with me,
I'm
like
a
you saw something in
stranger.
me, right?
Technically,
Like,
I'm a stranger. Like
right.
you
And you saw something in
catch.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
like I look at that, and things like that do not ever get taken lightly by me, right? No matter if it is like the first time I'm hearing it or not, right? Like it always gets tucked away in the back of my mind. And so to have that, I'm like, okay, like this has got to be something more than what it currently is. So let me explore that, and explore I have been doing.
Yeah.
It's been a really really fun time. It's been a really really fun time overall, and I love that I can still say that now that a large part of it is work for me as well. I love that I can still look at it and say I'm having fun. Like so many people out there do not get that win, and so I don't take it for granted
No,
at all.
no. And that's
Yeah.
true. And you talked about that earlier, and I just streamed about that a couple of times, and I did a podcast on it as well, where I'm telling people to remember their why. And I
Yeah.
posted that on my Instagram. I'm trying to do that more. Just I'm always trying to post something inspirational. I'm always
Yeah.
trying to stimulate and
Good.
motivate and inspire, because I
Yeah.
find that as much as it's fun to play games and listen to the music and the DJs are doing their
Right.
thing, there's
Right.
got to be something else going on. A lot of us ran here to escape life of being locked up in our house, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm just like, the world is open. A lot of people have left and they've now gone back to their outside life if they were DJing or they got the full-time job and the families and all that kind of stuff back. And a lot of people left their community,
Yeah.
or they just
Exactly.
got tired of it, because I've had moments where I'm just like, I really don't want to turn on. I don't want
Uh-huh.
to, like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to be,
Yeah.
you guys talk openly in your community. I'm just like, I don't want to put on a bra. Like, I'm there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care where the
N-
camera can catch me. I'm just like, I don't feel like putting it on. I don't wanna
Yeah.
sit in front of a camera. And it's not that I don't wanna be with my people, but there's
Yes.
sometimes you just like, it does take a lot of energy, and a lot of people don't realize that until they start streaming. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't listen to any of it at all. Like, I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, I had like, I know DJ Smiles and Dr. C, they were in here earlier, and they were warning me, like Smiles would tell me, "The only stream when you start out, only stream for an hour." I'd be
Right.
like,
Right.
and I was playing Spotify playlists to get my affiliate status. So I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna play. I'm gonna socialize. I'm gonna type to people, and an hour and a half goes by, and then I sit on the couch. I feel like I am burnt. I wasn't
Yeah.
even on camera at that point,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
was just like, "Whew, this is a lot." And I'm just playing Spotify playlist music. I wasn't even like DJing or anything. I'm typing in the chat, but I modded for people. So to me, I'm thinking, I mod for people for 4 hours. What's the big deal? But it's
Mm-hmm.
different when you're doing this. And
Yeah.
as I say his name, his eyes pop up. Yes, there you go. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Uh,
smiles.
and I have to say, like, there's some awesome people that I've met as a result of Twitch, right? And I know,
Yeah.
like, he's gonna not like me for saying that. He's one of them. DJ Soph the Sage, the same thing. Apple
Yeah.
Blossom, Maya Youngster, Te Dennis was in here. There's a whole bunch of people here that are streaming in some way, shape, or form on here.
Yeah.
I never would have met these people if it wasn't for Twitch,
Right.
right? But I think we all have the same struggle where we have to remember our why, because if we don't, then we don't want to turn on, and we're allowed to have those days. I'm going to say
Yes.
sometimes, like,
Yes.
we
Absolutely.
have to be able to check out when we need to check out, but
Absolutely.
it's, how do you continuously find the drive? Like, when I listen to your streams,
Mm-hmm.
like, it is impressive that you always have that energy. I've never heard you with a low moment. Like, those who pick it up on you, and I get it, but I have
Mm-hmm.
never been listening to your stream and I'm just like, yeah, Felix don't really feel like himself today. Like, it's just,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, where the hell, like, what does he drink? Please ship some over here, because I need that just to get through my corporate day, much less to do my corporate job and then turn on a stream. Like, but you always have that energy going. And I'm
Yeah.
seeing all the comments in the chat. Like, your people show up for you and they
Yeah.
support you and you support them, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it
Yeah.
really is impressive, right?
The why
I have all you guys
itself.
laughing right about now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's the Cheez-Its. Okay. The why itself has definitely evolved and changed over the years, right? Because as each year has gone by, I'm exposed to different people. Some people come, some people go, all that stuff, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost never the same faces year to year. Recently, it's been more consistent. Love y'all. But now I would say my why is, and why it is that I'm able to very consistently kind of keep up the same energy, for the most part, anyways, is like I think about the things that others have shared with me. Like many a time somebody will come in and they might not necessarily tell us why, right? Maybe why they're having a bad day, or why
Mhm.
things in general over the last, day, month, week, year have been kind of sort of bad for them.
Hard.
But
Yeah.
coming to my channel has always kind of lifted their spirits. And so I look at that. I look at the rest of the community too, because it's because of them why I'm even able sometimes to maintain a certain like vibe or mindset.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like we're really like feeding off of each other at that point.
Yeah.
And so like my why at this point really is for like, I mean, sure, there are bits of it that are for myself, right? And in a way it loops back in and it becomes like its own like selfish thing, right? And not in a bad
Yeah.
way. But I am really there for everybody. You know, like I'm like, hey, like I'm who you turn on, no matter the matter of the day. If you want a little pick me up or something, like hopefully I say or do something with my silly soundboard or whatever
The
that really just
soundboard is
kind
it,
of, you
man.
know, like adds a highlight to your day.
Yeah.
And to know
Yeah.
that I was able to accomplish that, even if it's just like, you know, hearing you out and being there in that moment, we're all winning. Um, and thankfully like the community has also been super receptive to that as well, and like they now also like pass along like that same sort of attention, affection, and messaging to
Yeah.
everybody as well, and that then loops in on itself because I see it from them and I'm like, oh, okay, hold on, like you're trying to outdo me right now. No, hold on, let me show you the masters real quick, let me show you the masters real quick. And so then I step up a little bit, right, and I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, here's where we go. And then oftentimes these days, I'm not gonna lie to you, it ends up with me maybe ribbing somebody a little like hard in order to make somebody else
Mm.
happy. But
Mm-hmm.
fortunately, I pick the targets that can take it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like
Yeah. Don't.
Jack.
Yeah. 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 Don't be
Yeah,
like me and just show up in people's stream and say stuff, and you don't even know if they're going to be able to take it or not. Because then you might get like, I'm glad that people saw the joke real quick and they didn't ban me. But yeah. Yeah.
right,
Yeah. I'm okay.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my why is definitely the people, and the people's why ends up being me, I guess, in that point, or like at that point too. And I'm appreciative. I can't even put it into proper words just how appreciative I am that we're here. Like especially after so long too.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be able to say that I've accomplished things that so many people around the same size, bigger and smaller, like have not been able to somehow. Like I wish I could tell you what the secret of the sauce is, but I mean the fact that I've been doing this for about a decade should maybe tell you that it's taken me a hot minute. And
Yeah.
patience with yourself as well, especially when it is something that
It's
you believe
huge.
in.
It's huge.
It's
That is
huge.
hard. I
It
have to.
is. It
It's
is.
because I'm always saying I'm not about numbers, right? Like when I started, everybody was like all hype and whatever and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And that's great. And that's awesome. And, I've been in Twitch for 4 years, but I've been streaming for a year.
Yeah.
So like I've made people and friends and communities and whatever. So now I'm on a mic, I'm in front of a camera, very different from being a mod for people.
Yeah.
So when you start, there is a wave of hypeness and you get the buzz. And then
Yeah.
as you said, like things start to normalize or you start to really get
Mhm.
into your groove. And then
Yeah.
people are just like, well, that groove is not my groove. So I'm gonna just groove over to here instead. And
Mhm.
you have to say like, and this is the remember my why comment that keeps coming back to me, right? And I say that so many times because
Yeah.
you get discouraged on is my content good enough?
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
duration good enough? And then I was going to ask you earlier when you're talking about that sweet spot where people are like, the people who are about to wrap up work or
Mhm.
you have the latecomers on the UK side that may be
Yeah.
like still hanging around or whatever. Do you follow like the Twitch analytics stuff that comes up to say, okay, like this is what the stats is showing. Let me try and stream around that time. Or did you just
Right.
stream at a time that felt right for you?
It started as the latter. So I picked a time that kind of worked for me.
Yeah.
I used to stream way earlier in the day, starting around 2 for us, and then I'd go to about 6, right? So I still would do 4 hours. I still felt like four
Yeah.
hours was appropriate. Didn't want to be on too long, and I felt like 2 hours was a bit too quick for me. Um, Especially considering, games with narratives and everything like that, right? So I was like 4 hours. And then where I kind of started gauging it, funny enough, was chat activity. So instead of like watching a live view count or even peeking at the analytics afterwards, like sometimes I'd look at the emails, right? Like, oh, what
Yeah.
did Twitch say my max viewership was or whatever? But I feel like that only tells you so much. And when you start like, I guess comparing it, especially if you happen to stream anywhere close to day and
Yeah.
things aren't like the same or whatnot, like it's hard in those moments to factor in some of the outside elements, right? Like everybody obviously exists outside of Twitch, right? Like for us as creators, a lot of times I feel like maybe we look at them and they're just like, oh, it's a username. Yeah, you associate the username with a set of memories or whatever else. But like, you're like it's not an immediate for like front-minded thought of just,
Yeah.
oh, they're working a 9 to 5, they have kids, they've got school, whatever else, they got to sleep because something else is happening, any of that. Or you don't see somebody one day and you're like, oh, did that one person like all of a sudden like they don't vibe with me anymore, but they'll show up the next day. Like I avoided any of those analytics, and I based I base that purely off of chat activity, or whether or not I'll
Mm,
notice, I guess, that over time as it became a more regular thing, how many people were telling me they were going to bed around what time. And so I'm like, okay, if I see
good
that
point.
kind of
Yeah.
slowdown happening, like, hey, I
Yeah.
gotta go for now. I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe we call it today.
Yeah.
Maybe we just end it because, like, like I could
Got
stream
people
to
start
myself.
sleeping up in your stream and
Right. Yeah, like I could stream to myself. I have no problem doing that, and that's very much where I started for a brief period of time, right? But I don't know. Like I'm big on sharing experiences now too as well, right? Like I know there are a
yeah.
lot of people who would have loved to catch like a certain moment live or whatever, and I don't want to accidentally, I guess, overstep in a sense and experience it and they weren't there to catch it. I want to make sure I'm catching as many people as possible to share that with them.
So I used to start with in conversations, and then a lot of the conversations weren't about music. I think I was telling you that last night. We were
Yes.
talking about real life scenarios, right? We weren't
Yeah.
talking about the music and the DJing. We're talking about things that were going on in people's life. And
Yeah.
then I started into behind my smile. So now my regular thing is what's going on behind our smile.
I
Like,
love it.
and I think that reminds people that we ran here to Twitch during lockdown because we are trying to get way of being, and here I am talking about how do you face life and talk about those things that you ran away from real life to come to Twitch and listen to DJs or gamers, right?
Right.
So to know that the people show up when I turn on, and I always say my collective, I appreciate you, I love you, thank you, because you don't have to be here for that, right? You can
It's true.
be in a gamer stream and you can be in a DJ stream and you're checking out what's going on.
Yes.
But when you go into a gamer stream like yours and you're hearing that same message I'm saying in my stream, you are saying in your stream and you're a gamer. And that tells me that my message is the right message. And why do I feel emotional
Yes.
right now? We're not going to do
Oh,
that. But the message is the right message. And it doesn't matter what
it
we're
is.
using, right? We still have a creative outlet and a platform that allows us to still send a positive message to
Yeah.
our respective communities talking about everything that we're talking about, right? I'm
Yeah.
talking, you're gaming, you got DJs playing music. We always say music is good for the soul. Like there's all like, but we're
Yeah.
all, if we all do it with the right mindset and remember our why, right?
Yes.
We can
Yes.
help a lot of people, right?
Yeah. And just by being here,
Just by
it's
being here.
wild.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wild. Yeah.
It's a little intimidating. I said that before. So I
Yeah.
did an in conversation with Maya Youngster, who also is a streamer here.
Mhm.
And she was like, when she said that, like I inspire her and I'm stuttering right now. And it doesn't click. Like I'm just if
Yeah.
some DJ pops up again with their eyes, don't be surprised. For the first 6 months of my streaming, Felix,
Mhm.
I said I was a girl in a stream. I
Yeah.
didn't acknowledge that I had a camera and a mic and I was doing this. I just kept on
Yeah.
saying I was a girl in a stream. And one day it finally clicked. Like, you need to own what you're doing. I am a streamer, right? Like,
Yeah.
but it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a responsibility.
It is. Yeah. And it's definitely a practice thing too, right? Like to really come around to that mindset on yourself. It took me more time than I'd probably like to admit to really like let that sink in and take hold of that responsibility, right? Because
Yeah.
it is intimidating, right? Like you just said, it is very
You
intimidating.
turn on and I listen to your stream and you could have things going on behind your smile. Nobody would ever know it. Like
Yeah.
you have completely put that wall there and
Whew.
you are so concerned and caring about everybody in your community. And I saw a whole bunch of people saying about your memory is insane. So I know that,
Yeah.
there's no tails is going on. You
Yeah.
remember what's going on and you're talking to these people and you're vibing them out and talking about what they did where and how and who's streaming and doing this. And I'm just like, people look for that kind of connection,
Yes.
that kind of inclusion, that kind of bonding. We don't have that a lot in real life when you
It's
think
true.
about it,
It's
right?
true.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's wild actually. Yeah. It's true. We really don't.
no,
And then when you're looking for it, it's got to be professional, I guess, at that point. Like, and
yeah,
that's kind of like the first thing that gets turned to,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's something that's sinking in for me right now. I've not really like like I guess processed that. I've always known, but I don't think I ever let that process, and that's wild.
No, it's hard because when I started doing the in conversations, the messages I first started getting
Mhm.
were, that is so dope what you're doing, because we show up and we watch DJs stream and play music for a bunch of hours. They turn off and then they do what they're doing. Some of them are
Yeah.
doing it in their living room or wherever
Right.
they're doing it.
Yep.
We don't know what's going on with the spouse, the kid, the whatever. Did they
Yeah.
lose their job? Are they still like you have no, because they don't talk about it. They show up
Yeah.
to play the music for us, right?
Yeah. It's true.
And then when people started saying they really love the stories, Blood Clot Gal is another one. So she's not even a streamer. I met her here. She is from
Yeah.
Toronto as well.
Yeah.
She's been an advocate for blood clots because she had a horrendous story that she's talked about. And she
Yeah.
was a guest here, and we talked about her journey and being a self advocate for yourself because of the medical system of what you go through. I mean, a lot
Wow.
of us in here, male and female, were pretty much in tears when you hear somebody telling their story, willing to show up and
Yeah.
talk to the
Right.
community about their story. And it is a real story. Like it's not a fictitious clickbait type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and how they survived it. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
when you hear people sending you messages and saying that really touched me, people were sharing their medical stuff in the chat. I had no idea some of the things that were going on. We're
Yeah.
all in here twerking and two-stepping to music that DJs are playing while we're all having like life problems, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
we're all over scattered. Some of us have met in person, like when you really come, oh, Soph the stage.
Yeah.
I had a
Hey.
conversation with Soph. We're gonna do a part 2 because she shared some stuff and she made me feel really uncomfortable because in a good way,
No, of course. Of
because
course.
it was, and I pinned it for a reason, right? So I apparently created such a safe space that people speak and they feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and I are talking right now, and I know last night when we tested, and you're just like, oh no, no, no. Yeah, but here we are, we're doing what we're doing, right?
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
what's interesting is that I just want people to feel like they're on my couch and just rocking out with me. Like I don't want them to
Absolutely.
feel like they're under interrogation. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable in any way.
Mm-mm.
And Soph shared some stuff about her life that she didn't expect. I didn't
Yeah.
expect. And
Yeah.
I felt uncomfortable because I'm just like, is my place safe enough for her? Is the forum like is what we're doing here protecting her in a way that when I turn off my stream, she's in New York. I'm
Yeah.
here in Toronto. I
Yeah.
can't go and call her up and say, girlfriend, let's sit on the couch and drink a glass of wine and take a hug. Right. Like
Right.
that can't. So you start to worry about that responsibility of what happens when I turn off this camera. Are my people okay? Like you
Yeah.
want to
Right.
make sure they're okay. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You're
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You're
Blood
right.
clot gal as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. This is why,
I
like, when you talk to people and you're saying, take that break and think about yourself, like, I had to have you here. Like,
yeah.
how could I not? Right? Like, you're sending a message in your own community that people need to actually hear. Right?
It's
And you're
true, and
kicking their ass in the
it's
gaming,
it's
you
wild
know?
because like I again like that stuff that's just kind of come natural to me. Like of course I've seen it in other spaces and whatever, and so I'll
Yeah.
adopt some of those things, right? And really just turn that into my own messaging too. I'll deliver it in my own way.
Yeah.
And so like I've never put, or I don't want to say never. I haven't often given myself time to really sit down and let it sit in just how much of a difference that can make, right? Like I know it can, and
Yeah.
like at
Yeah.
this point I figure like it's like for me it's like natural courtesy, right? Like it just rolls off the tongue. I just
Yeah.
say it, man. I mean it obviously, but it just
Yeah. Yeah.
and so to know or to really like again like take in that that can make a difference for somebody. That's cool, and I can also say absolutely without a doubt what they say about you and the space that you curated here. Absolutely. Okay, it's my first day in here. Okay, I think I maybe caught like the tail end of one of your streams once over the past year, right? And one of these actually. And I could not tell you a single thing that was going on, but I knew already just from the fact that, of course, like, again, it was like the bits of chat activity, the smiles on your faces,
Yeah.
everything. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
knew that there was something amazing here. And,
Don't make me
keep at
cry,
it,
Felix. Don't
keep
make
at
me
it,
cry.
just keep
Don't
at
make
it. Just
me
don't,
cry. Oh, don't make me cry.
take a break if you
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
need it.
Janelle,
But
yeah, yeah. And exactly what he does in his stream, ladies and gentlemen, he's doing here in this conversation, encouraging me to take a break if I need it, as if like this is your stream. Like this is
what do you
just it. Like
mean?
you naturally just do it without even thinking. And I like the fact that you said that because I've said it a few times. Life is unscripted. And what I do
Yes.
here, there's no script. I have a note thing. Thank you, Cosmic Lab, for writing it out for me. So normally I'm looking at my phone and I do words. Like I already like name, journey to Twitch, education. Like for me, I just want those little markers because we can just spiral off into conversation. So every
Yes.
once in a while, when you see me looking over or looking down, it's usually because I'm just like, keep yourself on track. Like, come on,
Yeah,
because
of course.
we've done 4-hour and 5-hour conversations, and I'm
Hey,
trying
I'm
to
about
keep
it.
it down to, respectable time, especially since
That's
you've
fair.
already been streaming, right? But I mean, and anybody who has questions, just but I'm gonna post this as well. So when we talk about the Twitch journey and how long you've been doing it, like you must have come across a whole bunch of um technology do's and don'ts. Like what is your ride and die tool that you could not live without? Um
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
whoa. At this point, okay. If we're speaking purely tech, it might be my Stream Deck or Stream Decks. I've got two now.
You have two.
I
Like I
have
was just
two.
trying to validate having one, and now you have
Yeah.
two.
Like I'm assuming the white one you have is like the 15 button.
Is that what it is? Like
Like
now,
this,
like yeah, I'm literally
yeah,
counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then counting 3 rows. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The
yep.
15
Oh,
button. Yes, I
right.
was gonna
So
get bigger, and
right.
because I was watching YouTube, and I was just like, for what I do, I'm like, I'll never have use for all those buttons. Mistakes. I should have
Yeah,
gotten it.
right. And so like when I realized just what it can do, even if it was as simple as changing my scenes, right? Like that is such a powerful thing instead of me needing to like, I guess as a gamer, I'll maybe have a PC game open or whatever, right? And so maybe the game is like reliant on me having like the game window selected in order for the audio to be playing as a small
Yeah,
example, right? I'm not trying to ruin immersion or anything like that when I'm like transitioning scenes if I can help it. And so just being able to like hit a button instead of me needing to click into OBS, which would then of course like turn off the game audio, right? To change scenes, big game changer. Um, so that has been probably, or that would be probably like the biggest thing I could not live without right now at all. Like a stream deck is a must, because now I use it to control my Spotify. I have like voice filters that only work in OBS. I'm sure you've seen me like slide my camera into different positions. Like
yeah,
all of
yeah,
that stuff is
yeah,
all
yeah.
rigged to my OBS. The wide array of sounds I use, like all of that is on here. And so without this thing, I'm doomed. I'm absolutely doomed. I would not know how to use any of it manually without it. So,
And I'm
yeah.
learning that because I mean, I just got to a point where I'm putting like I did the flyer, let me do
Yeah.
this. But now it's only
Right.
going to show just this because I got the two of you up here. So now I got to go
Right.
on Google and watch YouTube. And when you do this scene, what do you press here? But it's my Stream Deck, right? Like
Yeah.
that. Before I was trying to like click and save and have a window open and then drag it over.
Right. Exact. All of that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
way. No
No.
way.
No. No.
Um, I know you even wanted to touch on the spelling bee a little bit. Without the larger Stream Deck, I forget how many buttons is on this thing. I think it's like something like 32 for
32
this
or
thing.
something. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I filled this entire thing up with buttons for how to control that entire production, because I was streaming that off of my computer. And so working on that, I promise you, I was sweating the entire time because I didn't want to mess up, obviously, in front of however many people were watching, much less my fellow peers.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
was like, oh goodness, we definitely need a co-host. So thank you, E, for co-hosting with me. To sort of help with managing some of the stuff, so that way I knew which buttons I was pressing, when, how, why, or else like the whole thing was gonna be it would implode. Yeah.
Talk about that actually. So the
Yes.
technology thing, I think for me definitely is going to be my Stream Deck.
Yep.
I bought a Shure mic. I had stolen Patty's
Oh.
little pink razor something, and I didn't like. I was trying to figure out like I want that sophisticated. I didn't know
Yeah.
what I was doing when I bought the mic. So I
Yeah.
bought the mic. I'm just like, I think I want to continue on this. Don't know where or how. I spent the money on a Shure mic, and it's probably one of the best. That and my Stream Deck are two of the best things. And then I bought a new
Yeah.
PC. Right, like I
Okay.
really
Yes.
made
Of
the
course. Yeah.
investment. But
Yeah.
even that, when I'm talking about this, I'm not a gamer and I still made that investment. You're a gamer. So I'm sure that what I've bought and what you bought, there's two different price points.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah. To a
sure.
degree. Funny enough, I
But
feel like you
investment.
actually, sorry to cut you off. I think you might have
Sure.
actually maybe spent more than me, because I'm still rocking a blackout blue Yeti mic. At the
Really?
time, yeah, at the time, this thing cost me a little under 200 Canadian. Um, and I think Shure's go for maybe a little bit more than that. And I don't know what kind of PC you got, but
Yeah, they
maybe,
do. Yeah, they do.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah.
hey, which is
Yeah.
wild.
Well, I started looking, right? Because people, it's like, oh, the condenser mic and the this mic and the
Uh
that one.
huh.
And I was just like, it's gonna pick up the background noise. And I usually have like an air purifier. I got a fan going over here. So you'd hear it all
Yeah,
buzzing in the background. Like that's not gonna work. Like
right.
that's
And
not
what
gonna
kind of
work.
camera do you have?
I bought the Patty, let me know. I bought the Logitech. So I had a
Okay.
little live cam because I bought it for work during lockdown. It was the most horriblest thing, but you guys
Right.
apparently loved me for it. Thank you, because that's what I use. And I recently bought the C90, a
C920S.
920S.
Okay,
There,
so
there you
we're
go.
rocking a similar model then. I think I'm like sort of like just like a half step below you. I've been rocking the Logitech C920 for basically my whole career.
And I think
Not
that's
upgraded
pretty
my
much what
camera
everybody recommends. Like a lot of people try
these
to
days.
get their hands on that, right? So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if stock is back for it now, but I remember it was gone during the
gone.
pandemic,
Oh
or
yeah,
like
yeah,
the height of the pandemic, I should say,
yeah,
because we're very much
yeah.
still in it. But yeah,
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people would be in denial about that, but yeah,
all right,
we are still in it. And I think a
yeah,
lot of people were not taught how to get out of it if they feel that they are out of it, which is that we're in that nobody taught us how to get in it, right? Like we woke up
right,
one day and your life was ripped out and you're like, now you're home. Do not leave.
right, Yes.
Those who had family, it's a little bit different. But if you were by yourself, that's where a lot of these people decided to do what they're doing, right?
Hmm.
Because they were by themselves, and this is where you came and you found community.
Yeah.
But going back to the world, I think I still struggle with that quite a bit. Let me get back on track. So you
Yes. Yes.
talked about the spelling.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, can you share with them the fact that you have, I believe, one or two teams on here? So you have Team Andromeda. Say
Yeah.
that.
Andromeda Arcade.
Yes, yeah. Can you
Yeah.
walk us through the concept on that?
All right. So, blanket statement: everybody in the team is a clown. And I hope that there are
Oh,
some of you in here that listen to that. You are an absolute clown. We love you,
uh,
but you're a clown. Nah.
Cosmic Lab, if you go to clip that, it's okay. This is recording, so I will be able to post this later and tag all who feel that it needs to apply to. So
I
yeah, we're good.
appreciate that. I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
that. They
yeah.
they need to know. But so it's a bit interesting, and I'm sure, I guess, like our founder, Amethyst Kim, you've maybe lurked on her a couple times. She might be able to give like fuller insight on that. But um Kim, or Amethyst, as many of you know her as, is one of my closest friends. I met her very early on in my journey. And me, her, and HG Damien, whenever you see him, we knew that we wanted to sort of, like create something big, right? We didn't know what it was going to be called. We didn't have a name or anything like that. And of the three of us, she was the first one to get partnered. And so, of course, once you have partnership, you can create a team and invite however many people you want to on it, et cetera, et cetera. And so she, at the time, still is. She's very obsessed with space themes. So Andromeda comes from the fact that we are a part of the Andromeda galaxy. And of course, we're gamers. So arcade, I'm assuming for that reason, would then be tagged on at the end.
Yeah.
Um, and then from there, it became like, okay, how do we get people into this team, and what are we really looking for? And I'm not sure, funny enough, when this part of it kicked in, but Kim really, really got into the idea of us raising money for charity, and frequently at that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so loved that, loved like the idea of at least like, like giving back to people who are like, in many cases, of course, they're not as fortunate as you or I, being able to like sit here, whatever they are, in hospitals, or in other ways they are in need, right? And so how do we give back to those people and make aspects of life more accessible to them? And so, of course, charity. Um, and so from there, Kim would often like, end up meeting somebody new in a category maybe she was streaming. And then down the line, of course, she became open to some suggestions, recommendations, etc., and have us scout out. But very much, very, very quickly, Damien and I were put into leadership roles for the team. And we've been, building up our roster of streamers who are like-minded. They're here not for business, but for pleasure, right?
Yeah.
They're here just streaming for fun and enjoying times with the communities and stuff, and they're overall, anyways, just positive in energy, right? And so that was like our biggest thing, despite anything else. It's never been like a numbers game. We're not looking for people with high viewership. If they happen to, I mean, it would make sense, of course, if they are somebody who is,
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
good energy out there in the world, right? But oftentimes, like we're not, well, I say often, at all, we're not looking for that at all. And so with that, we've managed to find really cool individuals like Fox and Kage and Blue
I keep saying
Satire.
his name wrong. I'm not sure why, but I'm just glad he's not here. I'm very happy he's not here. I'm
It's a
assuming maybe
weird
he might
word.
be streaming.
He might be.
No, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, I don't know
yeah.
what his schedule's like, but
Man.
yeah. And so that's kind of where we're at now. These days, while we still are definitely like putting emphasis on charity fundraising and whatever, we've also kind of dialed it back, because of course, in doing too much charity fundraising, you then exhaust your community, right?
You,
It's like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
I only have so much to give, right? So it's like, okay, wait, let's reel that in. And so we've then focused on trying to put out other events, of course, to really share like each other. So, of course, many people might know Kim or might know myself, but they don't know who Blue Satire is. They don't know who Foxworth is, and so on. So it's opportunities, of course, to meet them, have fun with fellow creatives that are like them as well. Um, and so that's kind of where the spelling bee came along. Now, why we coined spelling bee of all things as a thing that we were meant to do,
I
I
don't know.
couldn't tell you. And that just goes to that gives credit to the chaos that our team is, right? And some of the minds. Like,
I just
and
remembered. I was just like, what am I watching? Some of those words, I'm just like, I'm a grown ass woman, and I don't know, how to spell these words. I was getting ready to
this
open up like, what is that word? Like you were
right.
pronouncing. I was like, oh, that's what that is. Really?
Right.
Like, just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it was really that a few members of the team were kind of caught for one reason or another on stream trying to spell something. Big ups to Only Mac for that. I know he was kind of pivotal in why it is that this happened. And I think Kim herself, funny enough, also got caught misspelling things live. Like she was just prompted like, "Oh, you can't even spell so and so," and then she would try to spell it and fail. And so the joke became within our communities. I think at that point, we should just have a spelling bee one day. And that was actually just like a gag, and then finally it turned around and was like, okay, let's actually do this, right? People seem to actually want to see this. Let's organize it. Let's do it. And so we had the first one last year, then this one this year. Yeah, it
This one
was
this year was interesting. I didn't see
it,
last year's, but this one goes down in
very.
the books.
Yeah. Oh, it does. Oh, it
Yeah, yeah.
does.
Note to
Wow.
those who are watching, whether you saw that spelling session or not, when you win, take your winnings and walk away. Don't get
That happened
greedy.
twice. That
Don't get
happened twice.
greedy. Just take your winnings, smile, deuces, and leave.
Yep.
Because then it gets snatched. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
only you to blame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
that point.
yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. You're that
Oh.
cheeky. And where is he? So I believe
Mm,
Cosmic, correct me if I'm wrong. Jiggy's the one who I always call Toronto Mans because he always has that
yes.
Toronto Man's voice, but he's nothing to do with Toronto.
You know
But
he was
yeah,
here last week.
was
He was
he?
he was here last week on Thursday, or for well Wednesday to Saturday, but I saw him on Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
we went out for
yeah,
dinner, and I got mad because he did the Toronto Man's thing again. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
almost swung. I
Oh
almost
wow.
swung.
So apparently there's might be some violence that's gonna happen because I have a
What?
feeling that somebody didn't know. Oh. Well, that happened. La
Hey,
la la la
you
la
didn't
la.
hear that from me. That's all I
Yeah,
gotta
that's a little late.
say.
I'm gonna clip that and tag somebody along the way too. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't
I'm
hear
gonna have
that
to
from
learn these
me.
things from Cosmic Love.
Ooh.
Know when to walk away, know when to run. I feel like I'm ready to start singing, and I don't want to have to scare you guys with my singing voice, so I'm gonna try to hold out. Oh yeah, there's a whole thing going on here. Yeah, you gotta know
Oh
when
yeah.
to hold them, know when to fold them. Yeah, yep,
Uh-huh.
yep,
Oh
yep.
yeah.
That is for sure. That is for sure. There's
Yo.
a that's what, like there's a whole and it's interesting because I always say community without barriers, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I was in a bubble. There's certain DJs I've been modding for. Those in the community you already know who I was modding for, and I put up my hand and said, I don't want to be a mod anymore. And
Yeah.
people thought, oh well, there's a fight. No, I just didn't want to mod anymore.
Yeah.
It's hard to do what I'm doing, meet other DJs, meet people like yourself, socialize when you
Yeah.
spend like 8, 9 hours of your day modding, right? So
Yes.
you need to change it up. So I found that there's so many DJs, there's so many communities out there outside of the bubble I was in for so many years. Like coming into you guys, coming into you guys community and you guys accept me, that's dope.
Of
Because I just
course.
roll up in there, pretending to be somebody's mom, you know,
I'm here
creating
for it.
havoc all over the place. And there's always a love and a receptiveness, right? And I'm saying like
Yes.
there's a lot of that you see in Twitch that you cannot. There's always bad stuff, right? There's always politics. There's always something negative, but the positive should always outweigh the negative in a way. So,
You
like talk
even
about your team, like there's so many of folks on your team that are all on at the same time. Like,
yes.
how do you guys manage that? Like, does it matter
Um
that you guys are all streaming at the same time? Is there like rules to this or any of that kind of stuff?
None of that at all.
No.
It's very much in that sense the Wild West. Like you can just do whatever, whenever. If you could reach out and collaborate at any point, I mean, hey, like bonus points, I guess.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
you deepen a bond with a friend at that point, and maybe you both get content out of it if you both plan on streaming or whatever, right? Like, and I think that's something that I really really love about Andromeda Arcade too, despite like everything. Because again, like as far as that goes, there's no structure or format, right? Like because even especially myself in being in a leadership position, I'm very much here for everybody else on the team, especially.
Yeah.
I'm here to be like a sounding board for anything if there is anything going on. I guess outside, right? They have that access to me in that sense and each other, and we're all just very very open and just really really cool with each other. I love it. Like it's something unlike any other team I've ever seen on Twitch because there are many teams on Twitch I feel that are very much oversaturated, and there is not room for genuine connection building. Right
Yeah.
now we're at like 47 or 48 people strong, and like
Oh,
I say that number and it's like a lot, but there are people who have teams, and that team is filled with hundreds to almost thousands of
Yeah.
people in it.
Yeah.
And it's at that point, it's like you scroll through the list and it's like, okay, well, where am I on this list? And how do I actually make like a genuine connection with people? Because at that point, like it becomes a question of, is this person trying to use me? Blah, 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 all that stuff. When with our team, it's
Yeah.
never like that, right? Especially
Yeah.
considering the fact that we don't open applications. We're very much like going through and we're just like, hey, we'd like to invite you if you're interested. Here's what we're about, what we're doing, if you didn't already know.
Yeah.
We're just a community, just like how we have my community, we have the collective as well. Like
Yeah.
it's very much that. It's just that it just so happens that everybody in it is a streamer as well.
Yeah.
I appreciate
It's
that.
interesting that you say that too, because I know in the community that I socialize in,
Mm-hmm.
um, you feel it sometimes. You feel
Yes.
where,
Yes.
certain DJs they have their main times that stream, and you
Mm-hmm.
want to be respectful because we're all in the same community. So you
Yep.
don't want to you don't want to turn on when somebody else is on. But there
Yep.
are those things that you talked on, and you're really eloquent about it, where you have to question people's motives. Like, why do you want to be a part of?
Yeah.
Why are you showing up, right?
Yeah.
And how do you respect other people's space but still do what you're trying to do? And a
Exactly.
lot of that Twitch world, it varies. Like, you see it in some of the other
Yeah.
communities. Like, I've gone into some people's stream and like their mods are all in there just having a good time. They don't greet
Yeah.
anybody. And I'm
Right.
just like,
Right.
oh, like they just want the sword to want the sword.
Yep. There's
Like,
a lot of that.
you
Yep.
have a responsibility as a mod to support your streamer and the community.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's wild. And then like on the other side of that too, it's like a whole respecting people's time thing, because of course, maybe somebody wants to be on at the same time you would be on, or
yeah, yeah,
they have
yeah,
something else going on, et cetera, so they can't be there every time, and
yeah,
and some of that gets muddied. And it's wild to me sometimes when that does get muddied. But as far as the messaging goes, by the way, of like, can I be on when this other person is on? I think that if you're watching people like that, I'm going to be very frank with this. I'm sorry. So if this hurts anybody's feelings, please God,
please
this is
speak.
your sign to check yourself. Okay, real quick.
Let me
If
hydrate.
if you're concerned about somebody else's, like, viewer count, subscribers, the hours that they're streaming, if they have an overlap, you really gotta like check yourself, because there's no issue in that. Like, everybody's winning, and if you are trying to, um I guess, signal boost yourself in somebody else's space, the best thing that you can do is authentically and very genuinely like share what you have with them. Okay, like, if I tell people this all the time, because of course, we have fellow creators that are looking to grow and so on and so forth, and
Yep.
and this absolutely applies to you, fellow, like I was going to say fellow DJs, like I'm a DJ, but to my DJ people as well. Like, if you're looking for growth and so on and so forth, and you're looking for genuine connections, there's going to be some trial and error, right? Because you're going to come across some people who are ungrateful, or just disingenuous, right, with their intentions for you, and so on and so
Yep.
forth. And
Yep.
hopefully, you pick up on those signals before it's too late. But the best way that you can signal boost yourself in somebody else's space here on Twitch is, do your thing and like raid into them if they're still on. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, raid into them if they're still on. Let them know, like, oh, like, you're doing something cool over there too. They're going to be appreciative of that, or they should be appreciative of that. And
Yeah.
they will return that love if and whenever they can, right? Like,
Yeah.
provided the
Yeah.
hours allow. But never, I mean, with that also being said, I mean, of course, like, don't don't go into somebody else's space like anticipating that kind of response. You gotta really, like, you work at that, right? Like, and build
Right.
that. In my earlier years, and I mean, I still like do this to an extent today, but in my earlier years, heck, even before I started streaming, like, I was an active moderator like yourself, like in so many other communities, right? Like, and so when I got started, I had like a bit of a head start, so to speak, where, like, people were coming in regularly and they really wanted to vibe with me because they knew who I was already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so from there, it was like, okay, like, I integrate myself in others' communities, right? I'm just hanging out, I'm talking, I'm like, giving compliments, I'm interacting with individuals in the community as well. I really like
Yeah.
give them that same time, patience, and affection that I would in my own space. And from there, it potentially grows, right? It's not going to go somewhere every time, and it might not be as big as you're thinking. Like, if I go into a space with like 30 people, I'm not anticipating all 30 to come up with me. I'm not even expecting 20, 10. If like one or two, if even, that's a win, and you really gotta
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
relish in that, and of course be genuine and authentic with it. Like, that is full stop, like, what it is. And that's very
That's
hard, I
deep.
think. Yeah,
That's
that's
deep.
very hard, I think,
That's
for people
deep.
to do. And I see
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
so much where, like, I've gotten a few people from the community right into me, And like of course, Twitch tells you how many people you've brought over. So it'll be like, oh, so and so rated with one viewer. I'll still welcome them and everybody else. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, and just in case, because sometimes honestly, those numbers lie. The numbers will tell you, oh, there's one person in here, and like I'll see two chat boxes come up, two different users with the yellow box over them telling me that they're a raider. You
there.
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
yeah,
like there's
yeah.
that too, and like and that might surprise you as somebody coming in, like maybe feeling a little bit ashamed or embarrassed that you're raiding into somebody with nobody, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like just do your thing, and I've been put on to so many of my fellow creators because they've done that, like because they just got started. For those of you who know her, Desi Sensei has rated into me I think 2 or 3 times now, and both times, the thing would say like one viewer, but she comes in like, like she just came in with 100, and I will greet her like she
Yeah,
came in with a
yeah,
100 people.
yeah.
Absolutely, I'll give her that spotlight and everything. um yeah, and so just like you approach it all with the same energy. You don't care about those numbers at all, because many times, if not the entire time, they're very much superficial, and they only care to the people, like the numbers only care to the people who have the wrong intentions, basically.
That is
Like,
true.
yeah,
True. That is
yeah,
true. That
that
is
was a
true.
lot, but that's really
That
how I
is,
feel
I'm
about
just
that.
like, whoo, wow, this is,
Yeah,
oops, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And it's very applicable. I can say, like, just from my own, viewing, it's
Hmm.
very applicable in the space that I'm in as well, right? Like in the
Hmm.
community that I reside in, I see that a lot, right?
Yeah,
And it's really hard for new DJs to come into the scene now when COVID already took up the space for a lot of these DJs to excel on this platform, right?
yeah,
So they're showing up, I'm going to say late to them, on time for their own journey.
yeah.
But if they're looking for the big win, the big numbers, the big whatever, you should have been here throughout that
That,
lockdown
yeah,
period
yeah.
to have achieved that. Now you have to do the long path to get there. Still possible, right? But
Yes,
it is a longer path to get there. But you do
yes,
have to take away from, it's not about trying to collect your bits, your subs, and your money. It
exactly,
has to be, I love playing music. I love gaming. I love talking to people, or bringing whatever your creative thing is here, right? Like,
exactly. And the second
bring
that
it
is
with that,
lost, you
right?
lose.
You lose.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep,
you do. You
yep.
absolutely do. You do. You do. I understand why you haven't gotten it yet.
Mm.
And I was asking you the other day, did you get it? Because I thought you were already there.
Yeah.
I think earlier in the conversation, I heard somebody say something in your stream, and I was just like, I don't want to know, because I'm going to talk to him later. I think, I don't know if somebody was asking you about it. So have you applied yet? Do
Oh,
you plan to apply?
so I've applied. I'll be honest, I've applied 3 times now. One of those times is
Whoa.
secret until now. So I've applied 3 times already. Yes, I unlocked the button just before the Christmas holiday, like that
Oh,
break. So I've actually applied thrice. Yeah. So one of those was secret. So I applied like pretty much almost immediately.
you're kind of disrespecting your people right now. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nuts.
See,
Keeping secrets
keeping
crazy.
secrets,
Look,
jaw
look.
dropped.
You
Yeah, yeah,
already know.
yeah,
Listen,
yeah, yeah.
in this, I want to say, in the same way that I was approaching the partnership thing until we had that conversation about it, right? Okay, community. Until we had that conversation about it, I was going to build up and try to do that all in secret, right? Like just right up to the like getting to the viewership, right? Because that was part of my slow grind. I never at all like really put out there, oh, I want to hit Twitch partner by X amount of time, or really like set those goals for myself. I just wanted it all to be like authentic, natural, and just have it happen, right? Which it was starting to already balloon before I finally said anything.
Yeah.
But then, we started having the frequent question of, hey, are you going to go for Twitch partner, or why are you not a Twitch partner yet, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's when I sat down with everybody, and I was just like, you guys would like really want to do this? Like, do you understand like what it would take in order for the channel to like really, really get there? And so I even did like a bit of a breakdown of what I knew at the time. I later went and found more information on it, but
Hmm.
like we had that talk, and so I was just like, okay, fine. And so that's the reason why I'm even like broadcasting the fact that I'm on this push. It's because of them. um Otherwise I would have just continued to move in silence. Maybe it would have been another 2 years, or however long it would have been before we finally hit it like naturally otherwise, right? And through this, I will say also, before I continue on, that I do understand, of course, the importance on the other side of voicing some of your desires, right? Because then you put people onto So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it. And I absolutely agree, because I've seen that like literally pay off.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Vicky
yeah,
Small
it's
says you have to move to your expectations, not with the opinions or expectations of others. It can drive
right.
a person insane. And it's hard,
Exactly.
but it's hard though, right? Because now you have a community. of people that want to celebrate seeing you with a purple check mark.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm appreciative of that because
Yeah, yeah,
all of you are like already like my hype people, right? Like you are my why, like I said earlier.
yeah,
And so to like really like see your like you amplify your voices because you want that for me, like that has then translated, of course, into me actually wanting it for myself as well, right? Like I already knew like, oh, I deserve this and I deserve that, but like that real drive to really like chase it, that came after we had the conversation as a community about it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And so I'm appreciative of that.
yeah.
But yeah, so I've applied 3 times. Um, and each time they've rejected me, they said the same thing. They're just like, "Oh, hey, so we cannot offer you a partnership at this time because we're looking for at least 8 streams over the last 30 days with 75 average viewers, blah blah blah." And each time I've been confused because I was like, "Huh, I'm definitely hitting those numbers. Otherwise, I wouldn't have unlocked the button to begin with, right? Like I wouldn't have unlocked the ability to apply to your partnership program if I wasn't already hitting those
Yeah.
numbers." But that's when I really learned, and I got to sit down with my friend Amy, who told me that there is a setting in your analytics where you can see how many of those viewers come from hosts or raids, because they want to make sure that your viewership, I guess, is organic, or as organic and direct as possible, as opposed
Yeah.
to it being like, oh, somebody is constantly boosting your numbers, or like you were on front page, or your Twitch stream is embedded on like another website like a wiki or something, because you can get like we've had issues like that on Twitch before where somebody's like put their stream on like let's say, I don't know, a wiki for your favorite TV show or something, right? Like you're looking up character information or something one day on somebody, or like looking for a synopsis on a plot for like your
Yeah.
favorite book or a character, and um you don't know it because it won't autoplay audio maybe, but like you are technically also at the same time viewing another person's stream. They're looking for legitimate views. Cool. So I
Wow.
found that, yeah, it's
Interesting.
nuts. It's nuts that was a thing, but they found ways to detect that, of course. And I guess what was happening with me, despite the fact that I was also still like ballooning in viewership, it was also because not all of it was organic. Um, and so
So
I,
raids don't count then. So if somebody
correct.
raids you,
Yes, if somebody raids me,
interesting.
I basically have to hope that they click onto the stream link like directly. So in the
That's why they
URL,
always say refresh your page and click.
yeah.
Now it
So
makes
it, funny
sense.
enough,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
that isn't
yeah.
enough. You have to make sure you click onto like the direct link, or if you know web browsers well enough, just
Yeah.
go up to the top. Like, so for example, where it says twitch.tv/tapthesoul for some of you right now, for those of you who came in with me, if you're
Yeah.
on a PC or laptop, um see if it has like URL refer equals raid or something like that in your URL, and like delete that and just hit enter, right, and go to twitch.tv/tapthesoul directly. Your view then counts as legitimate and like real for what they want to see, right? That's how that goes. um
Interesting.
yeah, so there are a bunch of
Um,
people just sitting up there with like refer equals raid like at the top of my stream, or they're on a mobile device, and I don't know how it really counts for that, but I would hope at that point, like tapping back onto the link anyways would maybe subvert that still, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
broke it down, and I would hit, like say hit 75 viewers one day, right? Average. And then I would check the other analytic of it, and it'd be like, 10 point something percent of the people here for this stream were from a raid. And I'm like, oh, so you do the math of that. What's 10% of 75, and then you subtract that number from the whole, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
so I technically only actually averaged like 50 something instead of it actually being 75.
Interesting.
And so that's
Is
been
that
that's been a tricky little dance. Yeah, it's wild. I'm like, yo, what are we?
no.
Right,
I
it's
was like,
wild.
no. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, no,
yeah.
no. And I'm always going to come back to this. Those of you who are new and coming in here, I'm in conversation with Felix Wind, a dear friend that I met through these Twitch streets as a result of Cosmic Lav. And I had to get him in the chair to chat with me. I am absolutely grateful that Twitch has happened the way it happened to allow people like us to meet. There's a lot of that stuff. So when you talk about the journey of becoming a partner,
Mhm,
there was that period where I was seeing almost every DJ become partner in record speed. And I thought
mhm.
it was the raids that was helping do that, right? Like,
No, yeah,
yeah. And I'm going to
no.
pin this question. So what about the viewers on TV, like Fire TV?
I wonder about that too. Like, I really wish so badly, like I had a clear idea of like how you got carried over on TVs. Like, I guess in a way I have to ask you a question. Um, when somebody, like when your streamer raids out, like are you actually being carried pages over like toward them or something?
It doesn't
Or
always happen, actually. Sometimes it
yeah,
does, and
yeah,
some like on the Twitch app on TV,
yeah.
sometimes it will bring you over, sometimes it won't,
I
right?
wonder about the Plus program now. But before you needed to be a Twitch partner to maybe even be eligible for it, right? Yeah, it's the 70-30 split. It's turned into, as of last month. Yeah, we're in March now. So as of last month, it's officially turned into just the Plus program. Affiliates can apply for this too, technically. But it's an automatic type. It was nice knowing you, Live.
Joe after work is another one. Hold
That's
on,
another
like
one.
another one. We got to
What's up,
shout it. Like
Joe?
there's a lot of these. I'm telling you, like to the mods that just keep doing the shout outs of all these folks, all the DJs that I've been shouting out, all of the streamers, the gamers, like everyone's turning on and doing something in their own way. Joe after work, I watch a lot.
Yeah.
When he does his cosplay of Laura Croft, I'm a little questionable. At one point I wasn't sure if he had on booty shorts or whatever, or but yeah,
Yeah,
we're
you
just
definitely saw
gonna,
that. You
yeah.
definitely saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're not already doing so, check out Joe after work. You will definitely be enjoying his stream as well. And I'm saying
Oh,
this
yeah.
like honestly, guys, I'm not a hardcore gamer. I play Animal Crossing. That's it. Tekken back in the day, but not here. But there's been so much enjoyment and interactive, and it's not just the gameplay; it's the interaction of the community. For those of us in the Caribbean, West Indian community, DJ community, whatever you want to call it, if you're looking for a very different experience, I'm going to tell you all, follow any one of these folks and check out just one of their stream, and you will be hooked. You will absolutely be hooked. And there's
Oh, yeah.
nothing wrong with variety. Come back to that Twitch community thing. So those of you who want something a little bit different, Joe after twerk here, Blue, you did not just say that. Yeah, you did. And I'm pinning that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any of you that are looking for a different experience, whether it's the gaming or the DJing, check out any of these folks and you're guaranteed to have a good time. Guaranteed. And a
Much
good
appreciated.
community of people, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, absolutely. We're blessed to have you, seriously.
Yeah. And I think it's hard too, like, because I know that they're also raising the price of subs depending on where you are geographically. And you mentioned it earlier about all of the different fundraisers you've been doing, and I was looking at your media kit, right? So I saw all of the different ones you've done over the past. It even gets hard to do that where you want to support your streamer, whether you're a DJ or whatever, right? And then you have your own responsibilities in life. And then you do fundraising things and you want to help because it's going to a good cause.
Yeah.
The money can only stretch so far. And I understand why Twitch needs to do it because, Lab has walked me through stop being a hater on Twitch, and there's all these different explanations and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's good to understand that they're trying to correct a lot of the wrongs that have happened along the way. But the financial hit to us as streamers and those who are trying to support us, the dollars can only go so far, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's ridiculous. As far as we go here, I know there's a bit of a like an asterisk on our price changes, and I say that because of course, like they're increasing our sub cost by $1, but there was something that happened in Toronto in particular, at least, or Canada in general, I guess, as to why it is that all went up. I forget the reasoning behind that. I'd have to research it again, but when I learned that, I was like, what? And now we have to pick, like, well, I guess after this month, start paying almost $10 after tax per sub. What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's no way.
And there's people who still don't know. Please get your subs on a browser. Do not use your phone. Do not use your phone. Like I did that for the first while and I was getting like double, triple hit because I'm just like, I didn't realize there's all these different charges.
Right.
Anytime you're getting a sub for anybody, do it from a web browser. Do not do it from your actual phone. Go to the web browser in your phone or go to your PC or whatever. There is a dollar difference and you will notice it as soon as you click. Yes. I'm just going to put your pin up here because I don't know how to say your name. Somebody's going to say it properly for me. Erie?
Areopolis?
Yeah, Areopolis. There you go. There you go. There you go. And another blood clot gal. Yeah, if you didn't know. And you'll see a lot of streamers put that message. I don't put it in mine because I don't really stream that much. I'm going to try to do better. But yeah, and if you have Prime, you're supposed to use Prime for I think one person out there, right? But it's kind of hard when you have all these different gamers and streamers and DJs and whatever. How do you pick just one?
Right. It's tough. It's real tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
Yeah, I know some friends that'll try to kind of like cycle theirs month to month. They'll like pick one person next month. That's kind of how they compromise with themselves, right? They're like, hey, I got you next month. But like
I haven't turned on ads on mine because I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I want people to come in and enjoy and not feel like they're obligated. But at some point I am going to turn ads on. But what I like about your stream, and I've seen a few if you do it in the chat as well, you actually will let people know the ad is coming.
Oh
So
yes,
you'll do
yes.
that countdown, the ad is coming. I'm just like that, like yeah, someone has to teach me that. So when I do
Yeah,
turn it
me
on, I
too.
can let the people know this we're gonna take a commercial break and you'll be back. And but some people
Yeah.
do like 7 commercials. I'm just like, I'm gonna
No.
leave.
Yeah,
Like
right. At that point, right? Yeah,
2
understandably so
max.
too.
Once you
Yeah,
go
right.
past 2, I'm out. Like
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
gone.
no, that's
You don't want me there. I'm
that's
poor.
extremely fair.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I'm taking the extensive. I'm trying to learn who you are. I'm poor. I don't want to spread my money that to every single person's room I go into.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to hold up my time for 7 commercials. You really
Yeah,
don't
no way.
respect my time. Nah, I'm
No
out.
way.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
way.
yeah,
No
yeah,
way.
yeah.
No
Go
way.
get your 25 cents elsewhere. Sorry. Like, yeah.
Stuff like that, like depending on the situation, of course, I look at that and I'll be honest, I'm like, that's a bag chase right there because I
Yeah.
guess you don't have too many people sub to you, right? So if you get the ad revenue, all right, cool. Um, with me, it's a bit of a double sided thing. Mostly my former point, which I'll make now, versus the latter. But of course, it's ruining the viewer experience, right? Like
It is.
that's the obligation. Like the one
Yeah.
minute of ads or 1.5 minutes, I think I play. I think it's a minute actually. A minute of
Yeah.
ads I play per stream or per hour is literally because like that's the lowest I could do it with the Twitch settings. Like that, that's it.
Yeah.
But other than that, with the way my community is, at least everybody's super generous and they'll just drop gift subs whenever they want to or whatever else too. So most people that swing by end up with a sub badge anyways. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, well, nobody's really even able to see the ads because they got the subscription for the month or
Which is
whatever.
good. Which
And
is
so
good.
right, so at that point it's just there as like a almost like an annoyance. It's just a little
Yeah.
buzzing bee just chilling there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
7 ads
I'm
in the
gonna
middle of
I'm
a
gonna delete the
combo is
ads
the
already.
worst. Yeah. 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 Olox,
Hmm.
4.
Yeah, could
Yeah.
you imagine? Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
gosh.
yeah. And it's when they play the same ad back to back, switch it up. Help
Oh
me out. Don't
gosh.
give me the same
Yeah.
commercial. Like,
I
give me a
really
little
wonder what goes
variety.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
like at that end, I really wonder what's going on because if I'm seeing like a McDonald's ad, or actually, I won't even get into some of the other ads I've just randomly been given. Have you been given an ad in French yet?
No, not yet.
On
No.
occasion, because I guess they have nothing else in like at
To
least the
give, so they
Canadian
drop it
law.
in
They
there?
just yeah, I'll be listening to an ad about like some sort of product, like the like TD Bank in French, and I'm like, what
You're
French
automatically
content?
assuming, oh, he's in Canada. They speak French there. We're just gonna drop that in there. He's bilingual. You're all right. You don't have to worry.
Wish they would give the option to skip the ad. I know that they've been
Yeah.
playing with the idea of doing sort of like those banner ads like we used to see on YouTube, right? Like you'll be part ways into a stream and maybe a little thing comes up that like will either stay there for a duration of time or maybe you can close it out after a certain period. But
Hmm.
I haven't seen that widely like put out yet, and I don't know, it's been maybe 2 3 years since they even started playing with that, so I have no idea what's going on with that.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm just reading through some of the, yeah, getting 3 State Farm ads in a row. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because I
I
really need to go through that. No,
I
absolutely
was
not.
in a stream once that ran so many ads per whatever the period was. I almost want to say it was like 30, 20 minutes even, that Twitch ran out of ads to give us. So it just put you on like this like gradient blue and like kind of pinkish screen with
Oh,
text
no.
over it saying, "Hey, there are ads that are supposed to be running right now, but like we don't have the ads. So we're just going to kind of like keep you on the break screen." Yeah, I was like, "No freaking way."
Yeah, that's
Granted,
crazy.
I only really was in there and like looked at that for the laughs, and I wish I had a screenshot to show everybody today. If I can follow up with that sometime, I'll let you. I'll be sure to let you know. But yeah, I just I couldn't believe it. I was like, you really you really ran out of ads, and you weren't gonna loop the same one over and over again. So you just put me on a screen for the remaining 5 6 minutes
Right?
that I'm supposed to be. No freaking way. No
The
freaking
ads
way.
the ads do me in, like, honestly, and I get it, everybody's trying to do something, what they need to do, how they need to do it, I haven't turned it
Yeah,
on yet. At some point, folks, you're gonna get an ad or 2 here, but, that's not happening right now. But when it
yeah.
does, I will not drop 7 ads to take you like,
No
what are
way.
you staying here for? You know how much
No way.
content you can miss? You know how much gossiping could be happening during those
Right.
7 commercials? You missed the
Right.
total punchline, everything.
Everything.
So, yeah,
Exactly.
that
No
won't work.
way. No
That
way. No
absolutely
way.
won't work. Yeah, 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 yeah.
To
Does the
answer you
streamer get
apropos.
paid? Does the streamer get paid as well for the ads? I believe $4 per ad.
We do get paid for the ads. But the amount we get from each ad, of course, depends on how many people are watching the ad and where the ad is sourced from. So, for example,
Mm,
like an ad from TD Bank would pay out more or less than an ad from McDonald's, for an example, right? And unfortunately, we don't have that sort of breakdown on our end. That's all like on Twitch's end,
on
right? Because they're
Twitch's
the ones
end.
who are otherwise, like, I guess, buying up the advertisements in order to give out to you and so on and so forth. But it's recently I think they made the change to make the payout for ads better. But I'll tell you right now, before I would look at my analytics when they were first rolling out ads on Twitch. I would look at my analytics and I would see I was getting maybe like 14 cents or so per payout, not even per ad, per payout, as part of the revenue I was receiving otherwise from like subs, bits, etc. Um, Now, I mean, for full transparency, now it's somewhere in the realm of like $12 to $14, but that's per month. And bear in mind, like I stream
You
at
stream a
least,
lot.
I was going to say, like at minimum, I stream at least 4 days a week. Um, Before it was three. I stream at least 4 days a week, and you do the math on how many days are in a month and whatever, and so on and so forth. $14 ish, like, and I think that's one of the highest numbers I've seen. I've maybe seen 16 once or twice, but like, yeah, yeah, not even $20 a month, like off of that many ads, right? 60 seconds per ad or per hour, and I stream for typically like 4 to 6 hours. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's still not great. It's better than what it was,
Yeah,
but it's
but
still
it's
not great.
still, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And that's why, of course, we then have the streamers that run like a bajillion ads because they're really trying to grind out that ad revenue, or they're trying to also give you like a longer break from ads. But I've seen frequent ads with high like watch times of ads, so I don't know. I don't know. At that point, I'm like, you're cash
interesting.
grabbing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. See, and that's the and I guess I'm gonna tie them all together some way, somehow, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're a full-time content creator.
Yeah.
There is no 9 to 5 job for you.
No, this
So
is it.
here we are trashing the ads, and that 14 cents is buying you grocery. Where I don't know,
Right.
not in Toronto. I'm just
Not in
gonna say,
Toronto.
like, I work full time, and I still have to question: do I have money for grocery? Because
Right.
the grocery dollars are ridiculous. So when you're streaming for so many hours, you've done 24-hour streams. I want to talk about that right after this, right? Like that's been madness. But
Yeah.
you stream for so many hours a week. You're a full time content creator. You are relying on the bits and the subs and the ads
Yeah.
and anything else in that realm of things to bring in your revenue. Now, I know you do other things and you do collaborations,
Yeah.
but this is still the path that you chose,
Yeah.
or the
It's
path that
wild.
chose you.
Yeah. It's really wild, and it is an absolute struggle, let me tell you. Because I'm very much still figuring out many of the nuances, right, on making that side of it successful. Because even now, like, doing this full time, um, a large part of that is because my time at GameStop unfortunately was cut short because they weren't looking to pay me more than I deserved. Like I was basically a manager at that point, and I was getting paid at the time. I think like when our minimum wage went up to I think like 14.25 or something like that. Like I was
Yeah.
maybe getting paid like 10 cents above that, and I was doing like managerial like responsibilities. And so I was like, hey, can we like talk about at least like a role change so that way I can get that price increase? Because I wasn't even asking for a raise at that point, right? I was just like, just give me like the base salary for assistant manager, whatever it is. That makes sense. And they refused that. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I can go. And at the time, like I was streaming only like, part time then. My schedule was super inconsistent, everything. So
Yeah.
to fall back on streaming and content creation as full time, that ended up being, because there was nothing else for me at that time. And I already knew I loved this. So I was like, okay, well, there's something I make from this at the very least, thanks to community support and so on and generosity. And so I can get by because I have support from mom and a little sister right now as well, um, to sort of maintain things and keep it afloat. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
in a way, also tying in the fact that nobody knows what's behind my smile. Oh, it's this
Yeah.
a struggle bus. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. A little bit of a
People
struggle
people
bus, but
don't people don't
they don't
they
know.
don't they
They
don't
don't know.
know.
Yeah,
They
so
really don't know.
I'm glad I'm able to do like what I can, like because everything is sort of like manageable, right? But like the biggest thing is, and fortunately, I'm a homebody anyways at heart. I want to say before I continue on, but it helps that I don't really go out all that often because if
You're
if
not
I
out
was
there getting
trying
turned
to
up
right
where
and
you
all
have
that,
to
like
use that money for that
exactly,
lifestyle
like
as well
yeah,
as your, yeah, yeah.
exactly, right? So So I'm thankful that I'm not the type of person who needs to like really be like thriving and striving to be outside all the time and so on and so forth. I've since I was very young, I've always been a keep out of the hood, just let me
Yeah.
just stay
Yeah.
inside and play my silly little video games kind of kid. Um but yeah, it's been something on that end, and I'm thankful for like I don't know. I would variably kind of try to do things almost outside of my comfort zone in order to make sure like a goal was met and so on and so forth, right? And with things like sub goals or donate incentives and so on, of course there is almost that obligation of needing to find a way to sort of give back, whether it's play a super hard game or do something stupid on stream or whatever. I Some of those things that people are willing to do, I'm not the adventurous type like that to really like go out of my comfort zone to do those things. And
So
so
you do
figuring
24-hour streams instead.
all right, but like yeah, I'm excited about video games. Cool video games come out, and I'm like, yo, let's do something special. Like I'm not even
Yeah.
asking for money at that point. I'm doing that for free. I'm doing that for free. um,
Every time I hear you doing it, and I'm hearing it quite frequently because it went from like a
yeah,
one-off, and then I heard it again. I'm like, wait, didn't this guy just do this just the other day? I was like, and we're back at it again, like seriously. But the
yeah,
24-hour streams, like I couldn't do it. I cannot see myself. There's times I turn on, I'm like, yeah, I don't know how long we're gonna be here still, and then I'm just like, yeah. And then I'm just like, an hour and 35 minutes. Oh, damn, we're still here. Okay. And then I've done the in conversations where they've lasted for 5 hours, but I'm like,
yeah.
24 hours?
Could you imagine? Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, no way.
No,
You gotta make sure you are well prepared to
wait,
even
you've
try.
thought about it. And I think somebody else has said they've done it, right? Where have I seen? I've seen DJs do some crazy, like some of the DJs, I've seen them do 8 hours and whatever, but
Yeah.
24 hours, I've
I
seen
could
12.
never. I
I've
couldn't
modded for
imagine.
12, and that was crazy. Like and I
Yeah.
mod from my phone. I don't mod on a
Right.
PC. So
Right.
by the time you're done, your neck, your back, your hand is all cramped up, your eyes are shot. Like,
Got your hands looking
yeah,
like.
pretty much. Right. Pretty much. But the 24-hour streams, like you've done that quite a few times. And
Yeah.
I don't know how, like, where do you get that energy to continue 24 hours straight?
I don't have an answer. It's really just willpower, and of course like regular breaks. Like fortunately I do have many friends around me that will remind me to like, get up and stretch, drink some water, etc., etc. Because if it were really up to me, like I think I could actually sit down, y'all, and just stream like 8+ hours straight on a video game, right? Because I'll be
Yeah.
like that captured by the actual content that I'm playing, not necessarily even like the chat interaction, right? But I can
The
be like just
storyline can
that caught
take you
up.
through.
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
really be
Okay. I
that
get
caught
it.
up in
I
the
get
reading
it.
and everything. And so it definitely helps with games that like, have voice acting and I'm not reading constantly out loud to like, exhaust my voice or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been a godsend for many of the games I've done that with. Yeah, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy the other
Spider-Man
day.
was dope. And I was like,
Ooh,
I was
Spider-Man was
over
so
there, like
good.
every minute I was over there, I was like, yo, like I want to play this game. Like this is awesome. I am absolutely
Yeah.
not playing the game. Let me make sure I say I am not playing the game. But it was absolutely dope to watch. I will say
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, it
yeah,
was so
yeah,
good. And
yeah.
so yeah, so I make sure like especially as like a big fan of those properties that I do those 24-hour streams for. Yeah, no, I make sure of course that I'm very excited for it first before I even consider diving in like that.
Who's
Um
telling me to play the game? Sax the host. You don't like me.
I was gonna say we can get Sax out of here, honestly. You know what I'm saying?
You you
Who
you
is that?
want me to play the game? No, 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 no. I see Cosmic Lab has said 24 hours would be fun. Yeah.
So
Let me
you
just
doing
put
one or
that out
what
there,
this year?
ladies and gentlemen. If Cosmic Lab decides to do a 24-hour stream to my collective and to the gaming community that is here, if she is on camera, I'm telling you right now that there is a couch that you guys see. I will be there. I will be sleeping on that couch. So I am there in support of. My eyes will just be closed and I am there physically. And that's as much as I'm doing for my 24-hour support of anybody deciding to do a stream. And I'm just
Yeah.
gonna take this right back off of the stream right about now because yeah. Jay, 24 hours of Spider-Man.
It
Like
was good.
I was invested for a good couple of hours, not the
Yeah.
24,
Yeah.
but I remember taking a nap on that couch that I just talked about, and I'd wake up and be like, "Yo, he's still playing. Oh, what is he doing now? What's he doing on the roof? How did he get
Right.
here? What's
Right.
happening? Why did it turn to this?" And I'm sure she's just like, "Oh my gosh, would she just sleep already?" But it pulls you in. Like it's the
Yeah.
quality of gaming today versus what many of us grew up with, right? Like somebody
Yeah.
posted Final Fantasy, right? I think
Yeah.
Saxby posted Final Fantasy. I remember what that looked like way back in the day
Oh
and
my
looking at
gosh.
it now. And I
Right.
thought it was dope back then. Like I thought the
Yeah.
graphics was just like next level. So
Yeah,
to
that's what
see
you
it
yeah.
now, whew,
Right.
yeah,
It's something
yeah.
different now. It's really wild. Like how technology has moved as far as like, like graphic fidelity on things go. Wild. And what people have really done to really enhance like the graphics we knew back then, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, a beautiful, beautiful titles out there. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of Octopath Traveler. But
No,
that
I don't
game,
think so.
okay,
Yeah.
definitely look into it whenever you get
What's the
get a
other
spot of
one?
time.
Where's the other one? There's another one, Cosmic, you play another one that you actually couldn't play on your Mac, which is why you ended up with the PC.
Don't tell me it was Dead by Daylight.
No, oh no. You got what is
Thank
this thing
God.
about Dead by Daylight? It's interesting that I didn't see anybody earlier talk about a game and they said Dead by Daylight.
Thank
Dead by
goodness.
Daylight, like there's certain killers where I'm just like, I hear the voice. Like
Yeah.
there's another person that Cosmic, is it Greg? I can't remember his name now. There's another one of the gamers out there that used to play Dead by Daylight as well, and she'd be in
Yeah.
his chat, and I'd be like, "Yeah, like I want to play. I want to kill people." And they're doing the thing with the generator and the whatever, and I'm
Oh,
just like,
Valorant.
yeah. So there's
Uh-uh.
Dead by Daylight, there's Valorant, but even Dead by Daylight, like who would have thought that that's a game to put out there? Like,
Right. A sicko. I promise you that.
yeah. Oh, Killer Greg. There we go. Thank
There it
you.
is.
Thank you. I was trying to remember who it was. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, see, Pilly loves Dead by Daylight.
Oh
There
yeah,
you
no,
go.
Pilly is a hardcore fan and she
Yeah.
stresses me every day because to this
Yeah,
day
yeah.
she's trying to convince everybody to play it.
I want to kill people as a valid reason to play. I agree. And since I can't kill people in real life, yeah, let me get my anger out elsewhere. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's why I used to play Tekken. So I think I mentioned to you that back in the day I used to
yes.
play Tekken, and I don't know,
Yes.
I'm sure Cosmic has talked about that a couple times. I
Mhm.
would literally play where my thumbs would be swollen.
Oh
And
my
I used to drive
goodness.
a standard car, so to try to
Yeah.
change the gear, like,
Oh no,
turn the
no, no,
steering
no, no, no,
wheel,
no, no.
go to work the next day and type on the keyboard. I'm like,
No way. No
oh yeah.
way.
We would be
Ooh.
playing until like, I don't know, 5 o'clock. I'd see daylight. Yeah. First
Yeah.
day back to school, the night
Yeah.
before, I'm
No
somebody's mother,
way.
ladies and gentlemen. The night before going back to school, what am I doing? I'm playing Tekken 3 with my kid before I encourage her to go to sleep. Yeah. That parenting
Oh my
101 right
gosh.
here. Yeah. Like that
Nuts.
was, yeah. And I mean, I'm watching you guys play it now, and me and Tekken 8, I'll think I'm gonna stay as a viewer. I think I might be safer that way
Yeah,
because
that's
between
valid.
the graphics, the storyline, the aging of some of the players from back then as well, it's just like,
Mhm.
wow. But even the content has been impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's
yeah.
true. It's true.
And you guys watch
Wow.
the storyline because I know you guys were talking about who's mom and this and that and
Oh
whatever else, and
yes.
I'm just like,
Yes.
I didn't know any of that was going on. I'm just like,
You were just
I
there to
know the
fight.
players I like, I know how to cheat and kick people's butt, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. No
Right.
thumbs the next day, but details. Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
Details. Blue, I've never played to that point. That's beyond me. Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
yeah.
neither. I've not
Yeah,
gotten
yeah,
close to
yeah.
that. Wow.
Yeah. I remember playing, what is it, Super Mario 3, where you'd get
Yeah.
more than 100 lives. So you're always stuck at
Oh,
99, you just keep playing
yes.
over and over and over and over and over, and you're just like, "Yeah,
Yes.
I'm good." Like, you're playing for an eternity. Like,
Yeah, at that point.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
But
gosh.
to go from that to where we are now, I feel
Right.
intimidated to try to play some of those games now, like the
It makes
Valorant,
sense.
what's
Yes.
the other one? Overkill?
Oh, Overwatch. Yeah.
Overwatch? See, I always mix them up, yeah. Doom, yeah, so Doom, we
Oh
had the
yeah.
cheat codes. Doom, we used to play
Oh
on
yeah.
PC, and I had the
I
cheat
miss when
codes.
games did that
And
because
it
they
was
don't really
dope
do that
because you would
anymore.
log
Yeah.
in, you put in the code, and you this the keyboard code, and you
Yeah.
could play unlimited lives. You don't have to worry about anything
Right.
coming to kill you, and you got all of the guns and the weaponry that you needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See,
I miss those
I'm
days.
that gamer girl from back then. Yeah, this gamer
Mhm.
girl now needs the cheat codes to survive. Yeah, or I'm dying.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Remember Game Informer? Yeah. What's the other book? We used to buy PlayStation books where it had the CD, sampler CD in the book,
Oh my
the
gosh.
magazine,
See,
and then you would
I
be
used to get
able
mine from Pizza
to,
Hut.
yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Pizza Hut used to do those. But
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
man, what was that
yeah.
magazine called? I used to still have like a
The
up
sampler
until recently.
CD. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
one of those
Crystal
magazines.
Caves. Yeah, that was another PC game. I
Oh
was hoping
yeah.
that they would bring that back. I love that game. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too because I'm saying all this and I'm having that, I automatically have that nostalgic feeling. I would love to just sit down and put in a code and play the old school Doom for a couple of hours just to,
Right.
yeah. So
Right.
when I hear you guys
Oh,
playing for the duration that you're playing, I can see how a 24-hour stream playing a game would definitely do it. Yeah, yeah.
right.
I
Exactly.
get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
We
The
gotta put you
demo
back
discs
onto
were
Doom.
wild back in the day. Yeah. You got some pretty
Yeah.
cool, like you can get a good couple of levels. Like you weren't just getting
Mm-hmm.
one and then you had to like buy. You were able to pretty much play a good journey of the game. And
Yeah.
then yeah. Yeah, I saw this. I used to go to Blockbuster and buy the cheat code books. Yeah. I just
I'm
saw
not surprised.
Blockbuster and remember I still have some DVDs on my shelf behind me that I still never took back. So I'm part of the reason why
Oh.
Blockbuster doesn't exist, I guess. So,
Oh.
you know. So if someone's gonna send me a bill, you now owe us.
For my Canadians, or I guess Torontonians, I was a Rogers Video kid. I never really pulled up
Yeah.
on Blockbuster like that, but Rogers Video, man, I was there.
Rogers Video, Jumbo Video, Blockbuster.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jumbo Video, I think, was the one with the elephant, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken, right? So
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey Tab, since
Wow.
you now have a PC, yeah, you know what,
True. We can get you
love?
back on Doom.
I'm on PC. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm just trying to make sure that because I know we haven't really been paying attention to the comments. We're kind of
Mhm.
catching them. And I
Yeah.
really appreciate the fact that you guys have been here and you're rocking out with us and kind of letting us do our thing over here and engaging just the same. Tap, same. But y'all, yeah, 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 yeah. So if
Mm-hmm.
they come for me, I'm gonna tell them that Blue, they need to come for you first and collect that debt. I was just talking with a friend of mine and I mentioned Columbia House CDs and
Oh my
BMG.
gosh.
So can you guys see the CDs on my shelf? A lot of those
Oh
are
my
1 cent CDs. I'm
gosh.
just gonna say out loud. Yeah, I just said that. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah,
My mom was also tapped in with Columbia House,
oh yeah,
and
yeah,
I went to
yeah.
their office once. I have a vague memory of that as a kid because for a time like their office ended up being kind of close to where I lived. Um yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Wow.
was confessing in that conversation the other day because I was like, yeah, I had it in my married name, my maiden name, I used my middle name, all to the same address. So I'm not sure why
Yeah.
their data didn't realize that this is the same address, but we're still sending you, 11 CDs for a penny. And then
Right.
you send me a bill and I wouldn't pay the bill. So sorry, I'm confessing. I would just put it in another name and get more. And yeah,
Right.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's
Collections, collections.
wild.
At least I still have the collections, so it's not like I threw them
True.
away, right?
That's true.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say all of that, so you guys may look at me differently. Judge me all you want. I'm a lover of music, if you haven't been able to tell. So yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. What was that? I use my real name and nicknames and my middle name. See?
There it
Yeah,
is.
see, Tati, I'm not alone. I don't feel judged. Yeah, yeah. Same last name though. No, I mixed up the last name. Because then I started like, the whole credit bureau and whatever. I was young and
Oh
reckless.
yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
better, but
One of those. Yep.
I'm an
Yep.
adult now. Yeah, 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 yeah. Did he just say I got all that Celine Dion in one shot? Yeah.
Oh
There we
God,
go.
you would, Sax.
Yeah, yeah. Where does the journey go from here?
Ooh, so my sites, I guess along currently with Twitch partner right now because that's like the big
The
one right
big,
now,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because that's home right now. I do have aspirations to really get into the YouTube partnership program as well as since you mentioned the media kit earlier, I got that made, and my hope is with that I'll be able to kind of like it's almost like with a resume, right? Like just kind of cold email a few companies and make some connections. Because what I want to get away from, of course, is the community sourced, I guess, funding,
I'm literally
right?
looking at it right now.
Yeah,
Does it show? There we go.
there it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes. So what you're seeing, let me do my YouTube thing. There we go. There we go. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So in
Yeah,
making
yeah, the
that,
media
like,
kit, which is a dope idea. Like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I can. Okay, you didn't hear this from me, all right? If you think you heard this from me, it was actually a lie. But since making the media kit, I've had a couple of people already kind of sort of reach out for mostly free opportunities, right? Like, hey, I'm gonna give you a key for a game and you play it on stream for a few hours or whatever. And I know many of you who watch me regularly have seen that, and I can tell you, I actually recently just signed like my first actual paid deal for next month. And it's nothing like huge, right? Like in terms of like if we're talking money, I guess, right? But it is
Yeah.
something. And I can attribute that to the fact that I made the stream kit because the source on which I received the opportunity was somebody I was already connected to prior,
Just wanna make
right?
sure
Like, and they'd
people are
already
seeing
sent
this
me a
again,
couple of
right?
keys already and whatever, and I was like, I know who you are, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But then out of nowhere they were like, hey, I'm reaching out because I see you're very serious about your work, and we want to pay you to cover our game for about 2 hours. And so I was like, oh, okay,
Damn.
like sure, yeah. So I want to
And
get to like that
you
stage.
see, I want to like you see your community here is all this like, wait, what the
Yeah,
hell is going
right.
on?
Yeah, it's
You're
a
just
surprise for
keeping
them now.
secrets from everybody right about now.
I don't, I don't really,
Oh, clearly, if
you
you
know.
want the secrets to come out, just show up here on Tap
Now
in
in this
Conversation, and he starts spilling all kind of stuff out here. So yeah, yeah, yeah,
now in this case, I don't want to get into like the hyper specifics because I don't know how much of that is actually embargoed, right? So that's law right there. But
yeah.
yeah, like I signed my first paid deal literally, like I sent back the contract signed and everything just last night. So or the night before, one of the two. But yeah, so I want to get into that, and then with like the YouTube partner program, of course, there's like ad revenue and so on and so forth,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
I want to get to that point with the YouTube channel and get the 1,000 subscribers and the 1 bajillion hours of watch time and whatever.
I saw
Um,
that the other day.
yeah,
It's saying that because just the fact that you did a media kit, I know Lav mentioned it to me, and I was kind of like, why do I need to do one? I'm always
mm-hmm.
talking about branding. Like I always say all the
Yes,
time, like just walking out your door, you don't have to be a streamer. When
right.
you walk out the door, you are a brand.
Yes,
And your parents tell you all the time, make sure you leave the house and you have on clean this and do this and do that because
all
you
of that.
represent the family, right? Like you
Yes,
are always a brand. I think people forget that. They
yes.
forget that you are all, it doesn't matter what color you are, because we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to get into that part because there's
Nope.
that layer to it as well, right?
Right,
But you are always a walking brand, and people will always assume who you are and what you're about based on your appearance before you even open your mouth and speak, right? Like
exactly.
people will see you and they're just like, oh, this guy's a gamer. And we're sitting here having intelligent conversations. You're dropping these 3-syllable words. I'm thinking, why are you using big words with me? Let's keep it small. Right. But
Whoops.
again, like people don't, they automatically assume when they see you what
Mm-hmm.
you are about. So the fact
Yeah,
that you've put together the brand kit and it's already getting deals for you free or otherwise, you
yeah.
have to celebrate that. Like you
Exactly.
have to
Yeah.
celebrate that.
And I've been so grateful for like any and every other like corporation brand, etc., that like really took a chance on me while I was on or while I am on this journey. Because as somebody, of course, with the memory that I have, I mean, basically all of those individuals are also represent, or they're like their corporations are represented on that media kit, right? From
Yeah.
Square Enix all the way down to the American Heart Association, right? Like all of them, they saw me, they saw something in me, no matter how big or small that thing was, and they took that chance on me, right? And so I took that to heart because, of course, I showed out for them just the same way they appeared before me, and yeah, and from there it's just building relationships and so on. So even with some of the people on that media kit, like I'm hoping to get to a point with them where I'm having conversations like, oh hey, like your thing is coming out, would love to get a paid opportunity maybe to like to play your game
Yeah.
or like be
Yeah.
consistent with it, sign me up for whatever partner program or exclusive this or that or whatever, because I know, of course, things are getting expensive, and in a case where I'm ever like direly in need, like actually funny enough I was kind of recently, um I don't want to then have like my only resort, of course, to be my community. I don't want to like take from them like
Yeah.
that if I
Yeah.
can
You
avoid
want to
it,
have
right?
other avenues. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
very important for us creators on all sides, like fellow DJs. Like make sure, of course, like fellow DJs. Here I go again.
It's okay.
DJs, if
Yeah. Yeah.
if you are looking for ways to also continue to, of course, like get your name out there, like I mean, I see you guys are making flyers and stuff, so that like keep that up and like continue to put yourself out there across any and all socials, even the ones you don't use, right? I don't use it. I'm not an Instagram guy at all, but I've
I
started
noticed
posting on
that.
there.
I was like, oh, I'm going to collaborate with you. And then your people can see it. And I opened up his Instagram. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like there was crickets and dust and the Animal Crossing you don't play in a while and you got things up inside your house. I felt like that's what would happen when I reach your
Yeah,
Instagram page. I'm like, how did
yep.
we get here? Like what?
It's a
Like,
mess over there.
yeah, yeah,
It's an
yeah,
absolute
yeah.
mess,
I'm
but
just
it
like,
was
how
cool.
did
Like
we
it's so
get
good for me to
here?
have it, right? Like just
Well,
make sure you
yeah.
put yourself out there in as many mediums as possible, and like hashtag it up and everything, right? Like add as many tags as possible, and increase your odds at visibility, right? His IG has roaches. It does. It's smelly over
Yeah, I was
there.
trying not to say the word, but that's what I was thinking.
It's
Yeah,
real
yeah, yeah.
smelly over there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't,
yeah,
and I got to be better about this part about it myself. But like I don't even really take like pictures like that, right? Like I'll snap a selfie or two or be part of a group photo maybe, and I'll look at it and be like, I could have looked better that day, or
yeah.
like even now I'm due for a haircut right now. Don't tell Tati though, because Tati will cuss. Um, but like I'm like, so I'm just gonna let that sit. Like nobody needs to see that. Nobody needs to know about what's going on.
But the
Yeah,
branding is key because I know
it
even
is
yeah.
right.
Because you
And
don't
yeah,
know, like people will like I know that I want to do sponsorships and I want to do
yes,
partnerships, but again, it's not really it's not because I'm looking for money. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to just take, like, I've had some people reach out to me. I'm just like, no, I would never support your product. It doesn't even align with who I am.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you
There
for
was
the
much of that.
opportunity, but
Yes.
no.
Yes.
But I would have to know that it's something meaningful. It's something that
Yes.
makes sense, right? And it is aligned to my actual brand because
Exactly.
I am a walking brand, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
to my fellow creators, like make sure, of course, like you really key in with that because it's true. You are a brand, no matter like where you are, whether it be online or in in person. You are a brand. You represent like yourself and something wider every time you show up in a room, right?
yeah,
Like absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah,
so I also like kind of had my time like being stubborn about making a media kit because I would see a bunch of people make them, but I wasn't really seeing sort of like the boons of having one and like really putting yourself out there.
yeah,
Um, but I think that kind of came from, in a way, I guess, poor communication from those I was at least seeing kind of post them, right? Because they would just post them and then like let them sit and not do anything with them. No, like, no reaching out that I was at least aware of or any of
hmm,
that to really get themselves out there, right? Um, and then came a question of like, okay, well, if I wanted to, for example, work with, I don't know, say I wanted to work with Twitch on something going on the website or whatever, how do I properly, well, one, I guess make contact, and two, really like sell them on who I am and share with them my experiences without like typing up a multiple page essay every time, right? And being like,
yeah,
here's why you should work with me and everything like that. And I was like, okay, well, some sort of resume I guess would be nice. And I'm not trying to work with them in a I am on your payroll kind of sense, at least not like that. um but just like just a one time, maybe two three plus, I'll take it type thing, where like we really like we work together on something that we're trying to promote and both believe in. And so that's where the media kit comes in, right? Because I
yeah,
can I
yeah.
can with that show you in pictures like my previous experiences and past activations on like games, I guess, with me, and charities I've fundraised for, and so on and so forth. And then if there's any further details you want from me past that, we can elaborate and have that conversation, right? But
Yeah,
it's an
yeah.
easy way to just boom, slap, like send you one thing and then just that's it. Then from there we'll talk. Maybe, hopefully, possibly.
Hopefully, yeah, yeah. But
Drop
it,
me a
it
line. Let me
comes
know.
back to it comes back to the whole like remembering your why and doing it from that point, right?
Yeah.
Because past streams, so these guys have heard it before. You can't take the exact same content and just put it everywhere. Some people
Right.
do it and it may work for them. You can
Mm-hmm.
get away with one or two pieces, but you really have to come from a customized standpoint. What you put on YouTube is not the same thing as what you put on Instagram or what you
Nope.
put on TikTok or what you put on here on Twitch, right? Like
Right.
the audience is always going to be different, even if it is somewhat of the same community. And a lot of people don't realize the who
Yeah.
told me that I'd be sitting here having motivating, inspiring, stimulating conversations with people behind their smile, learning about talking about life journey, not a plan, right? Like
Yeah.
it's funny because I even talk about that. And I have a book club that I started that I haven't been
Hey.
dedicated to. But again,
Hey.
right?
Late night book
People
club.
read. We don't talk
Yeah.
about it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
trying to get back into that flow of things. And then I also said last week, but I'm also doing too much.
Right.
There's so many things, Lab, I've been listening, but there's so many things you want to do, and there's not enough time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And many
Yes.
people would say right now, listening to us talk, well, he's a content creator. Like he doesn't have a
Yeah.
9 to 5 he has to worry about
Right.
it, but there's still the work involved, right? You don't just turn on the stream and magic just happens. There
Exactly.
is a
Yeah.
lot of heavy
There's
lifting
there's
involved.
so much. I could not tell you how many late nights went to just configuring something to use the next day in stream, right? And that goes into a lot of things. And then of course there's the making sure your content is edited and posted on other things, because I know you
Yeah,
do like
that's
the editing of your VODs, right? So there's time that goes into that, so on and so forth. Like
pain in the ass, to be
arguably,
honest with you.
right, like arguably, unless like of course we're being like extra smart about it, or I guess maybe like lazy, or just indifferent about it. um we probably work more hours than those that would just work on 9 to 5, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
you
Now,
do.
of course, yeah, of course, you can get in the conversation of the different responsibilities of each job, blah blah blah. But we're not here for those kinds of politics, obviously.
No,
But
no,
like
no.
it's a lot. It still counts,
And you do
absolutely.
a lot of it yourself. Like I want to make sure you
Yes,
capture that as well, because
you are your own boss. I'm my own
yes, you can
boss.
reach out to people and ask them, can you help? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
good with that. Like there's
Yeah,
very few people that
me
I know I
neither.
can rely on to say, can you help me?
Yeah,
Compensation, whatever the situation is.
yeah,
But a lot of what I'm doing on my own, right?
yeah,
Like, I'm editing, I'm figuring out, and a lot of my editing, I've said it to my youngster, she might not still be here, but I said it, like a lot of my video editing, I'm doing right from my phone in
yeah,
iMovie, because I screen record a lot. So I'll screen
yeah.
record and I can just cut out the chat and do what I'm doing. And there's days when I should be sitting in front of the PC that I spent money and bought. Just
Probably.
bought, right? But you find the moments where you can find the moments, and you have to do that work. And
Mhm.
you spend a lot of time putting in that work, and people think it magically just, and then you do research. Like what
Yeah.
I'm doing research, I'm looking in, and I don't
Yeah.
want clickbait. Like I don't
Yeah,
want to just
exactly.
say a
No
bunch of
way.
things that's going to get me a bunch of people to come here that I'm not speaking authentically about,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
that's the right. And it's with
Yes.
you in the games. I noticed that you and a few others, like, when Joe's playing, I know Laura Croft, you in those shorts. I don't know. I don't know, buddy. Um, you don't have to question, oh, they're just doing it because they're trying to get a crowd, right?
Right.
When you guys are playing, you can genuinely see that you guys are having fun, and people are
Mhm.
just having fun and shooting the shit in the space, right?
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
exactly that,
yeah.
exactly that. And there are so many people that do, yeah, show up and do the wrong things and for the wrong reasons and all of that.
And
And
if
it,
that's what works for them,
yeah, I was about to say, like, it can be a biter sometimes when you're on the outside looking in on that, right? Like, it's like, dang, like, this person just like did something absolutely outrageous in whatever category, right? Like,
yeah,
there are so many examples we can pull. If you know, you know. And they're like where we want to be, or at least where we feel we want to be at that time, right?
yeah, yeah. Because
Um,
then you start to question your content, you know?
yes, exactly.
Why
It gets
don't
into
I
self doubt.
have X amount?
Yes,
Why don't I have the check mark yet? Like, you
yes,
go through that, and then it's the whole imposter syndrome. It just
yep,
takes you down a whole path.
yep.
And then I always say, I have to slap myself out of it, trust what I'm doing, and trust the process. I don't
Hmm.
want overnight success. I
Yes,
want to know that
exactly.
I've organically built genuine people who are genuinely here for whatever I'm turning on and doing, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever else that I'm doing it, because
Hmm.
they want to be here. It's
Yeah.
not this like it's the club to be in. No, it's the
Hmm.
content to sit and reside with, right?
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Success looks different to everybody,
yeah,
right? My
exactly. Yeah,
success
I
is
love
not
that talk.
having 200 people in my stream.
Yes, yeah,
My success is when somebody sends me a message on my Instagram that will make me cry, letting me know that they sat through the entire conversation quietly, and they found comments that really help resonate with them because they're in a dark place,
yeah, yeah,
right?
exactly
I
that.
made them laugh because of, right?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
you're bombing people up inside your game when people are up in your chat, and people are sitting there and they're getting a joke out of that because they're
Yeah,
looking at the bonding, like the fun, right? Like
yeah,
it's that. And
exactly.
as you said, like it's the people. Like when it takes you back to that,
Hmm.
I
It's the
understand
people.
why people want the big numbers and the whatever, but
Yeah,
if you have the big numbers and you don't have the community, you don't have the genuine love, support, then do you really
yeah.
have
No,
the numbers? Like,
exactly, exactly.
yeah.
More recent days because like I know of course like it's very easy I will say too like to everybody's credit, right? Like even I have my like little lapses every now and again where like I'll see something happen in like a space maybe even close to mine and I'll go what, like how, right? And really just like and I'll be taken back by like self-doubt, right? And be like should I make that change? Can I compromise with this or whatever? But like many
Yeah.
times the answer oftentimes is no, right? Like I won't do that because it's not true to myself. um and being able to like be of the mind of course doing that with myself, like thank goodness. um it's worked out for me better in the long run. Like I maintain my own happiness by being able to do that. And I let everybody rock the way they feel that they should.
Yeah.
I just hope, of course, yeah, like they don't get caught up in the comparisons of other creators or other people in general, right? I mean, because
Yep.
shoot, you could look at this and then look at like random celebrity number 22 who doesn't do content creation in any capacity outside of like the things that they're doing outside of, I guess, Twitch, YouTube,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Like there's
it's
people who turn on and they've got a celebrity status in the
yeah,
real world. So they
yeah,
turn on here
yeah, and
and
it's just
people
different.
flock to them
Mm-hmm.
just because it's them. Like
Yeah,
regardless of what and some of them have some really good content, right?
yeah.
I'm not throwing out names and giving anybody free promos right now because you're not in my chat to get the support and love. Yeah, yeah. But to those celebrities, you guys already know who they are, right? You know who celebrities have Twitch pages, and a lot of them
Hmm.
showed up here because of lockdown. Some were actually here before, but
Yeah,
nobody knew, right? So they
yeah.
turn
At the
on the
time,
page and they do stuff.
it's
But
true.
those kind of folks, you're just like, they're diehards to be here because they're not here because of their fame.
Yes.
I've been in some of their streams where they're just like, don't ask me for this, don't ask me for that. Like they are here as, Billy, the person, not
Hmm.
celebrity name insert here. right? And I think that's
Right.
beautiful when you see that as well, because it shows you
Yeah.
that there is always a human element.
Yeah.
You know what? Look at that. We have people calling you out right now. Yeah, yeah. Felix is a
Yeah.
celebrity.
Famous Felix or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
get your autograph, and yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm for it. I've signed a few things already. That's been an interesting time.
Jackie, I'm glad. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we got you,
I am
Jack.
glad. I'm glad. And I was over here hyperventilating before the stream went live. Part of the
Oh,
reason
you
why the
too.
stream was late, I was nervous about doing this. Like, for every in conversation that I have done with people, there's something when I just turn on and I'm by myself and I have the collective chatting with me and I'm interacting
Mhm.
that way, right?
Yeah.
But when I sit down with somebody here and you start talking with them about their life
Yeah.
and you get that rhythm and that vibe, and we are just having a conversation,
True.
right?
Yeah.
I always wanna know that I'm feeling like, wow. Um, I always wanna know that I've done them justice. I wanna know that I've given them their flowers. I've shown them
Mhm.
the respect. I've given them the platform for them to express themselves how they want to. I've given them a safe space, right?
Yeah.
I wanna know that the community, the collective, they're getting something that takes from them. So when I'm seeing some of these comments, you guys are gonna make me start crying, because
No.
I'm literally sitting here and I'm just like, I know some of you because I show up in the background in a stream.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, nobody really knows unless I show up in, Cosmic Lab's stream. When are you streaming again, by the way, Cosmic Lab?
Yeah, we're trying to figure
Um,
it out.
yeah, boom, boom, boom. But it's just, I think it's important that those of you who are streamers, whatever your content is, just keep going. Like, don't
Yeah,
just keep
please.
going.
Please.
Numbers
Like,
or no numbers, big or small, whatever your
yeah.
plan is, just like
Yeah.
trust yourself and just keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even if it's one person, like you are somebody's favorite,
Yeah.
even if it's one,
Yeah.
like you are somebody's absolute favorite. So, keep
And
showing
it's
up for
hard.
yourself and then, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at that. Jay's getting your autograph at TwitchCon.
he'll be all right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So even now, like, we didn't even talk about that. So I'm looking at my list. What didn't I touch on?
Ooh.
Um, I'm trying to see what's next. We talked about your future. We talked about your technology, your streaming platforms. We've talked about quite a bit when I'm looking at this list.
Let's
So there's
go.
a bunch of you that's going to TwitchCon. I've never been. I
I
don't
sure
think
hope
it's
to.
somewhere that I would ever go. I don't think,
That's fair.
because it just seems like it really is more gamer centric.
Right,
Have you
right,
been before?
largely. I have. This would be my fifth, I want to
Oh,
say,
wow.
going into. Yeah, I think it'll be my
All
fifth,
right.
if not fifth, then
Jay, get
fourth.
that autograph, yo. Yo, he like, mm, yeah, get that
Mm-mm.
autograph.
I gotta practice it again. It's been a while since I've signed anything like as Felix Lynn. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so TwitchCon itself is, yeah, I would say like largely gamer focused. There are a few things for like for I guess the other sort of like peripheral communities of the
Yeah,
of it as well. And I would actually say in recent years Twitch has kind of tried to really embrace those sides more and envelop them even outside of the gaming. Like I think the gaming's kind of what put Twitch on the map, right? To this day, even, right? Like it's very large, it's very big, and it's also very loud. But almost equally as loud, though not as big, we have like the music community, the people who do the IRL things, right? The
yeah, yeah.
I guess the hot tubs.
I don't get that. You know,
All of
one of
that.
the DJs posted, there was like 400 and some odd people in a stream watching raccoons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there. When I saw
Just
the picture, I'm just like, oh, he had raccoons in his backyard. And then I realized, no, it's a screenshot. And I read the
yeah.
caption and I was just like, really? 470 some odd people are like, there's a crazy
Yep.
raid train going for
Yep.
raccoons.
For raccoons.
We're
Yeah.
watching raccoons.
Yeah.
They're intelligent. Little sons
Oh,
of bitches used to haunt me back in the day, trying to get in and out of my
Jack, we're looking
garage.
at you.
Yeah, they're trying to like own. Oh, yeah, we are, Jack. Sorry, I love you, Jackie. But like, I get it. They're cute,
Mhm.
but 400 and some odd people had nothing else to do but to sit there and watch raccoons
That's what I'm saying, right? Or they just
and
put them on in
donate
the
to a hype
background.
train.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of like when I don't know if you've ever done this or know of people who have done this, but like when you literally put on the like a video of like a fireplace and you just have it on in the background, right? You let the
Yeah,
you let the sounds of like the crackling flames or
yeah,
whatever like hit
yeah,
your ears
yeah.
and you're just chilling. Like that's basically what those are, right? Like cuz I've seen that for ducks, for cats, for dogs. I've seen cows. I have seen cows. And I was just like, "Whoa, what are we I'm
So if
not
you
mad
want
at
to
it. I'm just Mhm.
watch. I get it. But when I
Yeah.
start seeing some level whatever hype trains,
Yeah. Right. Right.
does the raccoon have a shore mic that they're trying to get compensated back for? What did I miss?
Hey,
Like,
they
you know
might.
what I
It's
mean?
only a matter of time.
Like, it's oh wow, and I'm seeing the raccoon emotes.
There it is.
Who did it?
The one and only Jack the raccoon, of
Yes,
course.
the
Uh-huh.
raccoons. Yeah, and you've
Mm-hmm.
seen owls. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Te Dennis. Yeah, and you're new to streaming. Like you're still working towards your affiliate. So again,
Mm-hmm.
somebody shout her out for me. One of you folks. You stream on Tuesdays, right? So, and it's content, right? Like
Yeah.
when you see somebody with 470 odd something watching raccoons, and you have new people like Te Dennis and myself just coming up to a year, this week.
Yeah.
You've been on here for almost 10 years, right?
Don't remind me.
And you're putting in that work. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't require to be in a hot tub with
Right.
sound effects.
Sometimes I've wondered like how things would go for me if I did pivot and do various other things, not necessarily hot tubs, I will say, but like
Thank you, because that
yeah,
was
no. Just different. Like, what if I actually embraced more of like I don't know. I've got like a drawing tablet here that I use mostly behind the scenes because I've been trying to work on on a webcomic kinda. So there's a bit of practicing there. Or if I even got into music, because at one point I did want to make music. And really like try that out. I got intimidated by the software, and I was like, maybe not. But it's in the back of my head, like something I kind of want to really like pick up and give a real like try someday. And
bring back
yeah,
the art streams. Yeah, yeah.
yo, I might laugh. I might soon. I can't wait to talk about that at some point. By the way, like maybe after I've got more to show you. But stuff with that webcomic is looking pretty solid so far. Yeah,
Does that
so
mean
I
that
do
you're going to
wonder.
come back and do a part 2 with me at some point?
I would absolutely be more than down. I was actually going to kind of like leave off at some point and be like, hey, whenever you want me back, let me know. Or like if
The,
I've got updates,
the
I'll let you
couch is
know. And
always here for you, my
I'm
friends.
about
Yeah,
it.
you
All right,
know
let's
how to
go.
find me. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
All
what I
right.
found in doing these too, and I've said it in a couple of the other streams as I'm adjusting my butt on this chair. That's the one thing I have not bought yet. I keep looking at the gaming chairs, and Pat's just like, "Don't do it." I've
I was
read
about to say,
reviews, and
yeah,
I'm just like, I don't even know what chair. Like where I'm sitting right now is where I spend my day. I work from home.
yeah.
Right. So I'm working from home with the dual monitors. I sit here all day. I'm in meetings and video calls and whatever all day. And then I decide on when just
Yeah.
so like the seating, even that, right? Like just trying to figure out like what do you actually yeah.
I was about to
Ergonomic
say,
chairs.
yeah, I was like, I love this chair to pieces. Shout out Secret Lab. I love this chair to pieces. But once this is
Not
gone, I am
gaming chairs.
absolutely switching
Interesting.
to an ergonomic chair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no. But I found that we can easily do this all night, right? So
Oh
when
yeah.
I start playing back some of my other streams of other in conversations, and I've said it a few times, there's a part 2 to a lot of these because it
Yeah.
really was a conversation. And then when I start playing it back, I'm just like, oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff we did and didn't talk about. And
Mm-hmm.
time has passed now. And, my journey is now, I've gotten a little bit more mature in what I'm doing.
Right.
So now I want to get some targeted points in the conversation. And I want to help
Yes.
market people, right? Like I want to make
Yeah.
sure that I am actually like, when I'm doing this is for me, but it's also for all of you, right? Like I want to know that I'm going to post this somewhere, I'm going to tag you and you have content. You're
Yes.
adding it out there. People want to see and learn about here's conversation right here.
Yes.
But I think the part 2 for a lot of these, the part 2s for me, I don't think are going to be live streamed. That's the part I do know. I don't think I
Yeah.
want to get to that point where you and I can do this. And I love you, community collective, but I want to like keep him for myself and we just get into some conversation.
I'm
Uh
about it.
oh, yeah, your significant other. Hi, I think you were in here. I don't mean it like that.
Oh. Oh.
Sorry. But yeah.
She'll be all right.
Yeah. But and again, it's the branding and it's the content, right? Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of the conversation that we get into, and I'd love to go a few levels in and
Yeah.
market and brand it and put it out there. All these guys are laughing at me right now. I know. Hey, I'll take. Yeah, I know. Joe, I'm showing up in your stream the next time that you turn on. I think it's
Yo,
time I
Joe, get
formally
ready.
introduce
Like
myself. Yeah,
where I'm at right now, it's about to be you
yeah.
one day. Keep playing.
Yeah. And that is it for a lot of you folks that are in here. I hope you guys realize that I actually want to say it all the time. Everybody has a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of us have good stories and some of us have horrible stories and some of us just have a story and we don't know how it's going to motivate, inspire and stimulate somebody else to pick up their craft, shed and let go of something they need to let go of, right?
Yeah.
Like the doors are limitless of what we can do if we just share what's going on, because a lot of us don't talk
Exactly.
about what, like, you
It's
see all
true.
these glossy things just everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, Felix, like, yeah, Felix is living his best life right now. You don't know
Yeah.
the hard times Felix has been going through to get to where you are today. right?
Ooh-wee, ooh-wee. And it's funny because like we to start off today's stream, I don't know if you happen to be able to listen at all to any of
No,
it,
I
but
missed
like
at
I
meetings. Yeah.
okay, okay. I funny enough, I shared like an experience I had in middle school about sort of like how it is I ended up kind of being able to be so, or at least part of why the beginning is of why I got to this point of being able to be like so open and transparent about my feelings and like where and how I put my foot down and so on and so forth, right? Like how I kind of manage my experiences with people, right? Generally speaking. Um is because in middle school, I'm the sort of I'm a very empathetic and sympathetic person, right? And so where I can provide for others, I will try. And so unfortunately, of course, you have people that take advantage of that. Now, some of the
Yeah.
kids in my middle school would do that, right? So I had a daily allowance almost of like $8, let's say, to bring to school, buy lunch, right? Cool. Um, Now I wouldn't maximize my spending. I would just kind of buy like maybe, a sandwich, a pizza, whatever, and then like, a drink and a snack. And that would usually come up to about say $4 or $5 out of the eight. So I'd have a little bit of change left over. Um, then what's it called? I'd have a few classmates of mine come by and they'd ask for like the change or whatever so that they can get something for themselves because maybe they didn't have, and so I'd be like, sure, like no problem, here you go. That's not an issue. But of course, the frequency of that, because of my generosity, it continued to kind of go, and I guess to a point where, without me realizing it, it technically turned into an abusive relationship, right? In that sense. Now, of course, I
Yeah.
wasn't being bullied or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I of course didn't find a problem with it until one day, like a year later, right? I had made a friend, I guess, in middle school, who like saw that, and they were just like, hey, like, why don't you ever say no? Because I think I maybe brought up a complaint at the time because it was probably like a cold winter day or something like that, and I wanted, like, out of my lunch money, I was trying to preserve like an extra $2 or something to go to a store nearby and get some hot chocolate for my way home, right? Because I'm a big fan of hot chocolate, yes sir.
Yes.
um
Yeah.
yeah.
Go wrong
so
there.
so of course, if I'm walking out with like, say $2 or $3 after I buy lunch, then to give out to somebody else would be chipping into that. So I think I voiced that one day, and my friend looked at me and they went, so why don't you just start saying no a little more often, at least, or something like that. And like it like hit me like a brick to my head. I was just like, wait, I never really thought about that, right? And then of
Yeah.
course then came the processing of like, okay, well, if I say no to them, they're gonna feel bad,
You're
and
gonna
I'm
get
gonna feel
upset.
bad, and all of
Yeah.
that, and da 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 da, and I
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah.
lose friends and all that stuff. But then I just said, okay, screw it. One day, and I started practicing it. Right, I was like, no, like can't do that. I'm sorry, like and so on and so forth. And so they learned to respect that boundary, or they remove themselves from my life. But for the most part, it was a positive experience. Um, and from there, it was just exercising saying no, and that in itself ballooned into so many things, right? Because it was just like, oh, if I'm just honest with my feelings and with everybody around me, wow, who would have thought, like, maybe good things will happen from that, right? Instead of me needing to basically be like, I guess, bribing people to stay in touch and stay cool with me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 It's interesting
Yeah.
that you say that because
Mm-hmm.
I find first of all, I call access and boundaries here the VIP girlfriend in our chat because it comes up
Yeah.
in almost every topic I bring up. We still get back to
Yes.
the fact of not having the right access and boundaries for all the reasons you need to do it, right?
Yeah.
I talk about reflection a lot, and you saying that is taking me through this last year. I just said it. I've lost some people.
Yeah.
I've gained some people.
Yes.
I've loved some people who didn't love me back, and I've had
Yes.
some people love me that I had no clue, and they've loved me the hardest, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you go
Absolutely.
through a lot of that reflecting of how much did I put up with because I wanted to keep that love. I wanted to keep that attention.
Yeah.
I didn't want to miss out, right? And I'm
Wow.
saying this now, and it's just like I just wrote this in my journal, and I didn't think I was going to say it out loud, but here I am. But it's that kind of depth that you go through
Yeah.
that really can take you through.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to listen. I'm telling y'all, I'm just trying to make it to the other side
Yeah. Apple,
because
you're
I'm
right.
still sitting in it. Like it's because you grieve. And I say that all the time. Like when you lose a friend,
Mm-hmm.
you grieve that loss, that void
Yeah.
of them no longer being the person that you talk to or you have hot chocolate with or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's an empty space that you have to figure out how to shift, not fill,
Yeah.
because filling
Yes.
just usually becomes a bad
Yeah.
situation.
It's
It's
like a
like a
cavity.
rebound after a
Yeah.
breakup, right? Like it just
Mm-hmm.
certain things you just don't do, but you go through that grief. So being able to express yourself and feel what you're feeling and take that risk, what you
Yeah.
did was a risk. You could have
Exactly.
lost every one of your friends
Yeah.
and then end up alone, and then that's a whole different childhood upbringing that, I'm like many of us have gone through that in some phase
Yeah.
of our life, right?
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah. Yeah.
it's yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'm literally like
Feel it out.
when you have to let go because of what you just said, like you're that boundary, access and it's a beast.
Yes, it
It's
is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
it's like, yeah, yeah. And because I'm just
Yeah.
sitting here, I'm listening to you, and like you went through that experience so young, right?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, honestly, like I went through some very, very real stuff. Like for from as early as I can remember, like talking junior, senior, kindergarten, like around those times. Like I've definitely seen and have had to experience a large number or a large like deal of hurt in various ways. Um, and I just from there I don't I really would have to like really sit and like let it marinate like how I got through those things because a lot of it is sort of just like ignoring it, right, and not
yeah.
really dealing with it. Then I think I've come to a point where I've now kind of gotten past that part, right, but it took me so long to really get myself into a spot where I really could just continue to push, right, and continue to push past and learn from the experiences and how to then tailor myself differently in order to make sure that like I don't
Mhm.
experience that again, right? And a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
that happened in my subconscious without even knowing. But yeah, yeah, there's so much,
It's
so much.
And we're all learning, right? This is why when
Yeah,
I
every
like,
day.
when I tell people like I show up here and I'm sharing, I'm at my most vulnerable because I'm so used to being closed off. People get a version of me, but I
Yes,
don't let people in past a certain point because of
yes,
some of what you've talked about, those childhood
yes,
traumatic experiences that have protected you in a way that I'll bond, I will love, I will care, but only to a certain point. Like
yes,
there's a wall that a lot of people can't get past, but
yes.
you have to get through it because if you don't, right? Fresh Prince, like what you said earlier about being lonelier, right? And JCap, I
Mm-hmm.
see you like you're taking in the information. Like we have to talk about these things so we can help somebody else get through what they're getting through because somebody said it and they're helping me get through it, right?
Exactly.
Whether it's a
Yes.
book I read, a conversation, a post somewhere, that content that we all put out there, right?
Yeah.
Even you gaming, a DJ
Yeah.
streaming, like we're still putting that content out there that's allowing people to grieve, reflect, go through what they're going through, and you're supporting them through that journey. And the game is getting them through where they can have fun watching the game and just get them through their thoughts, right? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's true. It's true.
yeah.
A lot of my processing was definitely done during those times. It's true.
We
Yeah.
escape in playing games.
Yeah.
Me
It's
and
true.
music. I escape in music.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
escape in writing. Like I literally fall into a black hole of nobody else around me matters.
Yeah.
And then I realize, oh yeah, by the way, I need to now go to bed because I have to get up and go to work in the morning for meetings
Right.
and my eyes are bloodshot and I've been snot nose crying and I'm going through this, I'm writing in my journal but we don't encourage that, and I'm going to
Mm.
go a layer in and I'm not offending anybody's race out there, but as a black community, do
Yeah.
not endorse therapy, mental
Nope.
wellness at all, right? You
Nope.
were taught you don't talk about your business publicly.
Nope.
You literally keep it behind closed doors. You
Yeah.
have to keep it to yourself. You don't
Yes.
disrespect the family and talk about your business out on road,
Nope.
right? You can't
Nope.
tell anybody that you're having a mental breakdown because they're gonna bust your ass.
Right. You don't
But
even
what you know
you're
about
not
that,
even
you don't
taught
even
what
know
that
to say the
is.
words.
Yeah.
No,
You don't even know what a mental breakdown is. Oh my
no.
gosh. Nope.
Like impossible, right?
Mm-mm.
Like and that's the reason why a lot of I know the new folks here, a lot of what I talk about is for that exact reason, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much stuff that we can learn if we share our stories. So back to it. There's a few of you that I'm going to hit up. I know nothing about your lives. I only know bits and pieces about Felix's life and I still don't think we even went that deep into it, which is
It's
why I'm
true.
just like a part 2 to go into some of that stuff where you might
Absolutely.
feel more comfortable with or
Yeah.
without the community
Yeah.
and we'll go in it, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
you
Like I
have to.
said, early on in the conversation, I'm an open book for you. So anything, even some of the harder hitting
Hey,
questions,
yeah.
if you feel like, you may want to ask any of them, feel free. And I'm
Yeah.
open to them. I'm open to
Yeah.
them all. Like I've learned, especially in streaming now and just, again, like I guess being in at like GameStop and closely managing people and so on and so
Yeah.
forth, like
Yeah.
I've really, really, really like learned and have grown to cherish like just, at least for myself, being open and transparent, and
Yeah,
avoid, like, like fibs and lies, where, like, like all that stuff. Like, I want to make sure I told you the right thing as I knew it then, at the very least. And then,
exactly.
and it's not a thought
Yeah,
in my mind like, oh, I got to keep up with this lie with this person, and this one with that one, and it becomes a whole, what I'm saying, a whole
yeah,
lot
I
of
can't do it.
mess. Like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah,
I'm too
yeah,
tired for that.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. I
I'm too
get it
tired for
that
that.
I'm not your typical everyday, and I'm not supposed to be for everybody, and I'm quite fine
Right,
with not being for
exactly,
everybody, because I know
exactly.
that everything that I say, I know what I've said, and I can
Yeah,
follow through with what I said, and I'm not trying to remember the lie that I said to
exactly.
Becky, the lie I said to Billy, and the lie that I said to Mary Jane and Sue and whoever else along the way, right?
Yeah,
And Cat Lady, yeah, you mentioned about your Mexican culture being the same. There's something
yeah. Oh my
about
God.
minority cultures
Yes.
that have had a different journey. But then I can also say that I grew up with the friends that were Italian and from other cultures, and they didn't have it easy either, right?
Yeah,
Their
that's
level
true.
of class
Hmm.
didn't have them go through less of a journey,
Yes,
because they were supposed to be too proud to talk about certain things that were going on in their family,
exactly that.
right?
Exactly that.
Right? And
Yeah.
I mean, there's those that are fortunate and well off, and there's a path for them. They
Yes.
can't deviate and say that they want to be a content creator. They got to go and make that 6 and 7 figure income and follow the
Yes.
family footsteps, whether
Exactly.
they want to or not.
Right. And that in itself is its own, like, string of issues, right? And things that
Yeah,
they don't even process, right? Like, they don't ever learn that, like, there's an issue with that, or there can be issues with that, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah.
be a doctor. Why do they want to be a doctor? They wanted to be
Right.
an artist.
Right.
They had nothing about wanting to be in the medical field, but
Exactly.
uncle so and so, their dad, their mom is a nurse, a doctor, this and that. They have to
Mm-hmm.
follow the trend for family optics. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Janelle yesterday took a mental health day instead of scheduling streaming, and she opened to her community about that with an announcement in Discord. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
empowers others. It does.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it
letting them know. Yeah,
does.
it's okay to not be
Yeah,
okay. It is. It
yeah,
is.
yeah. I literally said that in my podcast the other day. Those of you who are not
Yeah.
already doing so, check me out on podcast. I don't even know. Somebody dropped the command because I don't even remember what it is right about now, and I don't know how to press screens and buttons and all that kind of stuff. So it is Soul Bites. It's a snack with tap, and it really is a snack on the go, on the couch. It's a few minutes. It's raw. I'm usually
I
sitting on the
love
couch that's
that.
behind me, and I'm just words, whatever the thought is, and a lot of that is it's okay to not be okay, right? Like just
Yeah.
there's so many times that we have so many of these things that happen. Um, and we feel like we're being punished, like we're not allowed to not be
Yeah.
okay. And
Yeah.
it's been 2 weeks. Why are you okay already? Because there's a
Right.
timer that says my body's going to say that in 13 and a half days, I'm now going to be ready to execute back to normal life on day 14, day
You're right.
15. Like
No, no way. Come on now.
it doesn't work
Yeah.
that way, right? Which is
Mm-mm.
why a lot of us end up falling into what we do, right? A lot of us
Yeah.
creatives, we do this because this is our outlet, right? Whether
Yes.
you're an artist, a singer, a DJ, a gamer, a streamer of some kind,
Yeah.
photography. I know we talk about that. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, T. Dennis, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned generational, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of topics that are not always the most comfortable to get into,
It's true.
but they're necessary in the right spaces that are safe so people feel comfortable to actually get into them, right?
Yeah. 110%.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Talking about the hate raids and Twitch streams and all of
Ah.
that kind of stuff. I don't know if you've had hate raids. Are you still
Um.
good to go? Like, are you
No.
good? We can go for a
I'm.
few more minutes?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah?
solid. I'm solid.
Okay.
So
Hate
hate
raids,
raids, I have been fortunate enough to avoid those. I do believe I've gotten follow botted though, so we've had, like, spam follows, like, hit me a couple of times. But as far as any bots coming into my chat and, like, saying anything, like, really really wild, right, and just, like, repetitiously, I've been fortunate to avoid that so far. But I
which is good.
have seen it happen.
Mhm.
Um, I have seen it happen, and it's like it's really scary. I don't, like, why, I cannot understand a single shred of it.
What's the
But I'm
joy on putting torment on somebody who's probably already having anxiety about turning on their stream to do what
right.
they're doing?
I've
Like,
I've seen it scare off a fair share of people, yeah, and
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
terribly unfortunate, yeah. Um, I'm thankful to Twitch in the sense that they've since added and are continuously working on additional, like, moderation tools for that,
Yeah, I did
as well
notice
as
that.
peripheral people, right? Like, we have Seribot is a popular one now, if you've ever heard
I
of it.
have that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Cause. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Cause.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So shout out
yeah.
to, like, Seribot for also providing stuff, like, tools for that. And um That's one of the things I absolutely love, like the Twitch community as a whole for, because we have, minds like that, right? And they come together and they're just like, here's something for everybody. And just, yeah, and just really, really like helps out on that kind of level.
Wrexham,
I'm so
Kevin
thankful.
says. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 I'm
It makes
super,
it
super
hard
thankful.
to leave Twitch though, right? Like, so you talked about like the
Yeah.
YouTube platform. So I was live streaming there and there was like no views. I didn't have to worry about that. But I'm just
Right.
like, if I ever wanted to officially live stream on YouTube, building the community is one thing, but the
Mm-hmm.
the safe gates that are here now within Twitch that have improved over time, I don't
Mm-hmm.
even know if YouTube has that. Like I've seen like StreamYards, which is what I'm using to run this right now.
Yes.
They had a live stream and they were just talking about some of the new technology they're dropping. They
Yeah.
had to call in other people to come and help them because they were getting attacked in the chat and they
Right.
couldn't control it quick enough. They're not a new
Wow.
streamer. They are an
Right.
established, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
love the fact that they were able to reach out and get people to come in and help and like minimize it so that
Of
other
course.
folks in there didn't have an unpleasant experience. But
Yeah.
Twitch prevents that where possible, and then you have mods and
Yes.
stuff like that. But
Of
for
course.
TikTok, I don't even know how it works on TikTok. I'm not even
Yeah.
like I'm trying to learn
Yeah.
that as well. But
Yeah.
that
Right.
community, that safe space, like how do you protect people that are trying to build and do it on other platforms?
Right. Yeah, that is extremely tough. I'm gonna have to follow up with you on that if I find any solutions. Because as of
Yeah,
right now, like, yeah, it's close to impossible, I think. At least not without some sort of extensive work. Because now there exist bots that are highly customizable, right? So I don't know if Lav has ever mentioned this one to you, but StreamerBot is one that I use personally right now. Now,
do I
granted,
have streamer bot Cosmic Lab if you're still there? I don't know if you're still there.
I would imagine not, but it's like it's super open to where, well, fortunately there's like YouTube integration, let's say, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can customize it so thoroughly to where you can create a whole like list of filters for yourself within the bot. And if the bot detects any of it, then it knows, okay, I have read this word in the chat. I can then take this action over it. But there's no like it's not easy to do that, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
easy to do that at all. Um
See,
uh
yeah, she
right.
mentioned it, and I said it was too intense. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right. See,
yeah.
yeah, like
Because
something like
I'm
that
just
is a
like,
lot.
just little me. What do I need
Right.
to? Yeah,
In order to provide something that on Twitch right now, at least, is like kind of sort of like base level, right? You come in and there's already like a whole heap of moderation tools that you won't even understand until you experience some of it, right?
yeah,
Like
I
you're
know.
like you're looking at auto mod and you're like, what is that? Or why does my chat automatically block links? Or you don't understand any of that. Twitch
Yeah,
already just does that for
it
you. So
does
like
that for
if I
you.
wanted a
Yeah,
link blocker on YouTube right now, I'd have to like tell Streambot, hey, if you see like this kind of URL or whatever, like and get into really like hyper specifics with it, then it takes an action. But I have to probably experience some of that unpleasantness in order to curate that list for myself, right?
and that's the
And
part.
that's
Like, I
yeah,
wouldn't even know because I'm already thinking, well, there's no reason for anybody to come up here with no bad mindedness for what I'm talking
yeah,
about. But
right,
again, it was the same for the other streamers. There was no reason for anybody to show up in
yeah,
their streams and do what they did, but they seemed to feel
exactly,
that it was necessary, right?
exactly that,
And a
exactly.
vibe, you're trying to get it to work. Yes,
Yeah,
you see?
if anything,
Yeah.
streamers like yourselves, like like or like perceived to be like super small starting out, etc. Like
Mhm.
you're like prime targets for that kind of treatment, and I don't understand that either. Okay,
Like, you just wanna bully and intimidate somebody from trying to do what they wanna do
right,
and give them like, literally an unpleasant experience.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense,
No, it
not at
doesn't.
all.
Not at all, not at all. So when you talk about your journey and you talk about, like, the partnerships and stuff that you've done, you're
Yeah,
staying on Twitch, you're gonna use other platforms, you're gonna keep building.
yeah.
If I was to do the crazy question of 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Ooh,
I usually don't do that
ooh,
often actually, but I'm
yeah.
getting to that point to start asking people because now you start to think, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, 5 years from
Yeah.
now, where do you see yourself?
5 years from now, I'm hoping that I'm living with my partner. Um, I'm not gonna lie to you. Within a 5 year time window, I'm hoping I'm like starting my own family. To be honest with you, um, and I mean, I definitely still want to be doing this. Like, I definitely still want to be continuing to pass on like my messages as they grow and evolve and everything too, in the ways that I can, because I understand that I do have like this platform and responsibility. And a message like ours is not one that is very like loudly shared, and it gets muddied and lost in the cesspool of all the other like terrible things
It
happening,
does.
both yeah, right, like both
Yeah,
both in terms of like just other creators doing like stupid nonsense on their channels, up to, of course, like, the very real, like in your face, like real world things that are happening that we oftentimes either like a lot of people like didn't know about, like Palestine as a blanket example, and so on. So I'm hoping within in 5 years time and onward, like for as long as I can, like I'm still doing this. I do hope that it is, of course, significantly bigger than what it is now, right? So I'm talking about signing like my first major deal and everything like that. I'm like, cool. I'm hoping that that is like a consistent thing,
Yeah,
right? To where
yeah.
I'm able to support myself, my partner, and I guess future kids, and my family here as
Plural.
well.
I heard
Yeah.
plural. I just want to say, let the record show I heard plural. I heard plural. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, as he's leaving. So Joe heard him. When you think you don't have a community, you're surprised how much the community needs you as streamers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's that. And Joe Hurdum is one of those folks who came across me here.
Yeah.
And not from a DJ community, which is something
Yeah.
that I found like, and I call him out a lot because I always have to remind myself of that, right? When
Yeah.
you build 4 years on Twitch this month, you start to know the DJs know your name when you go into a room, and you start to
Yeah.
know all of the other people in a room. I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with seeing Joe's name in a room. Hi, Joe. I hope you and your family are keeping well, by the way. So to see him pop in my stream one day when I was having this type of a conversation, and he's
Mm-hmm.
been back,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
his comment right there, right? I've
Mm-hmm.
had moments where I've said, I don't know about this Twitch thing anymore. Maybe it's not really for me and I should
Yeah.
really turn it off. And then we have a conversation like this and I see a comment like this and I get an Instagram message from somebody else. I'm just like,
Yeah.
just trust the process and keep going. Like you
Exactly.
have to. So your
Exactly. Yeah.
5-year plan, still including Twitch and doing what you're talking about, I
Yeah.
think that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Just,
mean, shoot, if it's not Twitch, if for whatever reason, because I know some people anticipate for
Twitch
XYZ
is going to
reasons
go
that Twitch is
away
gonna
and
go
die. And
under and all
yeah,
that. If
yeah,
Twitch
yeah.
isn't here, you're gonna catch me somewhere else for sure, right? Like no matter what. Like I think I'm gonna be around. I think this has really proven itself to be my calling, of course. Now it's just a
Mhm.
matter of course, getting it to prove itself in the other ways that like life, I
Yeah,
guess, wants it to matter, not so much necessarily like myself, you, the community at large, because we know it matters already, right? It's
yeah.
just
It's
getting
getting
it
it out there.
otherwise, right? Like to where it needs to be, yeah. And
Yeah,
so we're
yeah.
seeing movement on that, and I'm thankful as hell. Like, oh, so thankful that we're seeing
So
it.
5 years from now,
Yeah,
to the crew that's here for Felix, please be in mind that you have a lot of diaper changings and babysitting moments that you are going to have to enlist in.
yeah.
Um,
Good luck.
yeah,
Good luck, Denise. Good luck to you too.
diapers,
I'm busy.
diapers.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Cat lady, no, not you. See, peas like sweet
Yeah,
peas. It's
I'm
like,
busy
yeah,
as
it's so
nuts.
exciting. Yeah, yeah. Blue, shame on you.
Blue's acting like he's not going to be here changing a diaper or two.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, Cos, I thought Cosmic, you're like, would you say you want to be full-time babysitter? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, pull up.
Oh, all of a sudden my
Wow.
internet stopped working. Oh, wow. Don't throw that out there because
That's
this has been
nuts.
a little
Caleb.
glitchy from time to time already as is. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
true.
yeah.
True,
So
true, true.
Cosmic, yeah. TwitchCon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
TwitchCon.
excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. Yeah, I'll be meeting Lav for the first time. Um, yeah, no, that's honestly gonna be a good time. I always go to
Was
TwitchCon for the
depends how
community,
many
so
kids. I'm quite small.
she is tiny.
Denise, don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, she
You'll be
is tiny.
fine. You can work magic. You be okay. Right now, he's just like, take that comment off the screen, please, and thank you. Let me do that. So, on that lovely note, I feel like I'm just like, hi, Denise. Hi. Woo.
Hi, babe.
Um, I'm looking at and I still have it open. So those
Yeah.
of you wondering what am I looking at, I'm still looking at your media kit. Like you have
Yes.
inspired me. I'm going to say like,
Let's go.
I'm really looking to create something like this, but then I need
Mhm.
to sit down and really think about it because as I said, I have all these different things that I'm doing.
Yes.
Where do I need to apply myself the most and
Yeah.
how? Right.
And feel free to use mine as a basis, right? Whenever I have
Yeah, I
somebody say
plan
that,
to.
like, I've inspired them or motivated them to do something, like
Yeah.
I literally tell them every time, like, that's what I'm here for. Especially considering how long I have been here and the fact that I'm still learning, have learned a lot. Um, I'm a wealth of knowledge of some kind at least. So by all means, like, use me as an example as your basis for
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
something that you also want to see for yourself, right? By
Yeah,
all means.
no, thank you. Thank
Of
you.
course.
And to the other streamers, those who are lurking in the back of the chat there, taking notes and etc. I always say it, right? If there's anything, any way, shape, or form I'm gonna always say message me on Instagram at Tap the Soul. Whisper, there's some creepy whispers that I get, and sometimes I don't want to
I
go to
get
my
that.
whisper. Just saying. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. And same for no, don't reach out to Felix on Instagram because it's dusty over there. He don't use that bad boy. So
It's true.
where do you prefer people to reach out to you?
I feel like you would have better shots, if not on, like, if I don't have you on Discord in any capacity, Twitter for sure.
Twitter.
Yeah,
We
I'm more
didn't
of a
even
Twitter
talk
person.
about this. I really want to take a moment, and yes, I know normally I'd be posting a whole bunch of flyers and everything that's coming and going and whatever. So I just want to say once again, and I'm going to post this while I say this, Felix, from the soul. I am really, really honored and touched that you said yes to come and sit on the couch with me so we can talk and
Of
socialize and
course.
bond and do everything. To
Yes, of
my
course.
1 year anniversary this week, and to know that I've been waiting for pretty much a year to talk to you and didn't even know I was going to
Yeah.
be doing it like this. I just wanted to
Yeah.
talk to you. It was
Yeah.
nothing about a mic and a camera. So to know that I've made this journey and I have a platform that can allow not only me to have this moment, but for me to have this moment with all of you, I want to say thank you. I think it's something, and JCap, that's why I posted this when I was going to say this as well,
Yeah.
right? Like there's something about all of us and what we do every day. And I think the most important thing is that we always be of service to others, be authentic, and remember your why, right? Do not
Yeah.
do it for any other reason but your own why, and trust the process. Like, and I'm saying that for myself because right now I've said a couple times, I don't know if I want to stay on Twitch anymore. I know
Yeah.
people are going to be like, oh, she does. Yes, I know. But then I remember my why and I just have to keep going and I have to trust the process.
Mm.
So those of you are not already doing so, exclamation mark Felix, please be sure to give him a follow. Check out his stream. Every
Oh,
other streamer in here, pretty much follow everybody because everybody has some content. If it's not on Instagram, it's here, it's on TikTok, it's on YouTube. Majority of us are posting stuff that can help somebody in some way, shape, or form. Joe,
yeah.
a year of growth and strength is becoming a better person thanks to you. Joe, I would love
Yeah.
to sit down and have a conversation with you, by the
Let's
way. I'm just putting that
go.
out there. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
I would
Uh,
love to. There's so many people that we meet here that have a story, right? The
Yeah,
growth.
exactly that. I want to say thank you so much for giving me this platform as well. To speak on. I'm deeply appreciative. It's
Yeah.
not often I do things like this, but like like you've seen with my community already, I'm very open and honest about everything, and
Yeah.
I've never really formatted myself on my channel to really like do something like this, right? To be in a space
Yeah.
where I can just get
Yeah.
on here and like talk, right?
Talk. Yeah.
And so to have that with you, to share this experience with you in this conversation, like thank you so much for reaching out. I want to say like
You're
it yeah,
welcome.
it's awesome. I'm looking forward to the day we properly meet. I mean, we are
Me.
basically neighbors, so like
Yeah,
I'm
like
giving you a
I know I
hug
don't
the
take the
second I meet.
TTC often, but I'm gonna see somebody and be like, "Hey, are you? Oh, wait, you're not Felix. My bad." And someone's gonna think
That's
I'm
wild.
crazy. I'd be like, "No, no, really, I thought you were Felix." Like, yeah. Um, and I don't go out much anymore, right? I'm
Yeah,
trying to change
likewise.
that behavior as well, right? And
Yeah,
that's why when I do this and I
mm-hmm.
socialize, I try to make sure people are getting me
Yeah.
because I think it's important that they see that although I may not be bumping up in them in a club,
No, of course. Yeah,
they're
no,
still, yeah.
yeah, like thank you again. I mean, in regards to going out, if not for Denise, I probably wouldn't really be going much of anywhere, to be honest with you. Like I already don't. Like if I'm not with Denise, I'm here. Like
You're,
there's
yeah,
there's no in between, right?
yeah,
So big ups to her for that, and to my community, to the collective, like thank you so much for pulling up on Tap and
yeah,
I. Thank you so much for
yeah.
listening to us talk. I'm glad you like all of you enjoyed the conversation. I was off and on like reading much of
The
you
comments,
and
yeah,
yeah and everything, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
appreciate your energy and everything. As well, like for both of us, on behalf of both of us. You're all amazing. We'll definitely be running a part two. So, look
yeah,
forward to that when the time comes. Maybe we'll see what's up in like a year's time, because a lot
yeah,
can change in
yeah.
that time.
A
And
lot can change in that time. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Those of you, Felix, once again,
yeah,
thank you.
of
I'm
course. And
already
thank
looking forward
you.
to part two. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no, seriously.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
thank
yeah,
you as well. Super happy to be here. Thanks for having
yeah.
me on. Thanks for listening.
Oh,
And
all the
I'm
time.
looking forward to sharing more for sure.